I pledge my eternal gratitude to any law nerd who would edit and combine original Emily's live coverage of this trial with Sidebars coverage at specific moments. That sounds like a doctoral project.
Who is ready for day 16 of the trial. So we left off yesterday, day 15. We had finished off the day. Amber had just gotten on the stand after lunch on direct. So we are picking back up now with Amber Heard on direct, and away we go.
A very different outfit today.
Good
very
morning,
different
ladies and
hairstyle
gentlemen.
today. And the
I just want to let you know that
today
today we're going to go till 5:30. So I just want to let you know at the beginning of the day that we'll be going till 5:30. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Did you see that face?
All right. Your next question. Yes, ma'am.
Today we're going
Thank
till
you, Honor.
5:30 and they've resumed court.
Amber, when we finished yesterday, we were talking about
we rolling.
the Bahamas and the yacht and flying off in a helicopter. I'm going to just
And flying
ask
off in a
you to take
helicopter,
look
that's
at, Michelle, if
exactly
you can bring
where
up
it was.
Defendant's Exhibit 1091.
Reuters doesn't have closed captioning, which is one of the problems, but I'll switch feeds in a minute. They're just pulling up an exhibit. All right.
I think that's 1090.
Court just started. How do you not have your exhibits? Literally, court just started. You've walked into court. How do you not have the first exhibits? Everything you're doing before lunch. How do you not have it in your hand? I am so confused.
You know, more stability would mean more stability with him and his struggles with drug and alcohol use. And I thought I would
That was odd too.
minimize some of the jealousy and insecurity that he had. He said over and over again, be my woman forever. I want you to be my wife. I of course cried, and we had a wonderful evening, and he left shortly after, and
I of course cried.
Like the next day I had to go to work, and I couldn't tell anyone, and I wasn't sure. Part of me was worried that he didn't mean it, or that he wasn't sure. I just didn't want it to be an impulse thing. So I didn't.
She thought there would be takesy backsies
I didn't want to.
On the proposal?
And I kind of I walked around for a few days like I had butterflies under my skin.
So while you were filming London Fields,
her face is going to change
Johnny
real
had
quick.
gone back to L.A., what, if any, issues did you have with him on fraternizing with the cast? I'm going to ask.
That's
Michelle,
very
can you
leading.
Pull up Defendant's Exhibit 188, please.
This is very leading.
Your Honor, I'm going to object on hearsay.
Your Honor, I'm going to, let's pull up 188.
She was crying.
That's submission.
She was telling the jury, of course I cried when I was proposed to, but she didn't talk about how she felt or it just.
Do you have that? You don't have it?
It's just the way she's telling her side of this story is a bit hollow for me watching it.
So I asked him permission if I could go to this concert with the cast. And I said, Johnny, that he's my co-star.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Yep, different, but I understand the feeling, and that is hearsay.
Don't tell us what the co-star said. Just tell us what your communication was.
She can't stick to what
Objection,
she's...
hearsay.
It is.
Her communications are hearsay.
Yes. She can't stick to
I'm
what
not
she...
sure I understand.
If you want to
You don't understand the rules of evidence? It's her own statements not being offered by a party opponent, Elaine. That's why it's hearsay as to her. Don't look, woman. I think you've been a lawyer longer than I have, Elaine. I am very annoyed.
Sidebar. Miss Vasquez. She's going to talk about what she said and asking for permission. That's hearsay. Miss Bredehoft. She's on the stand. It's not an out-of-court statement. She's testifying to an out-of-court statement. Miss Vasquez, correct. Miss Bredehoft. She's on the stand. That's not hearsay, Your Honor, what she communicated. The court. What she said out of court could be considered hearsay, but I'm not sure what the statement is coming in or what it's going to say, Ms. Vasquez. She asked for permission to go. She asked Mr. Depp for permission. She wants to be able to go to a concert with her co-star. Court. That's not going to be in evidence. What's the next one coming in? What's she about to testify to? I don't know. Ms. Bradhoft. Her communication with Mr. Depp, and Mr. Depp tell her he doesn't want her to go. Ms. Vasquez. Well, Mr. Depp's statement is not hearsay, but her communication saying she's asking for permission, that's an out-of-court statement. Ms. Bradhoft. She's on the stand, Your Honor. That's not hearsay. She can ask about it. She's subject to cross-examination. The court. Yeah, she is subject to cross-examination, but even what she said out of court could be considered hearsay. I'll take them one at a time. That's already in evidence. That's fine. So I guess she's like sorting through. And then we can get into whatever Mr. Depp said. That's fine. But these conversations back and forth, some of them are going to come in for context purposes. Ah, man, I bet she's really regretting that. It's like she said that word, context, and the rest of this day, Elaine's going to cling to that like it's her little life preserver that can overcome the tumultuous waters that are the rules of evidence for Elaine, which she cannot figure out how to navigate. Ms. Vasquez, I understand that. The court. So we're going to have to do them one at a time. Ms. Vasquez, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Bradhoft, okay. Open court.
The judge is trying to explain to Elaine very simple rules of evidence, the very simple rules of evidence being that she can't offer statements of Amber Heard. She can only offer statements of Johnny Depp because he's a party opponent. Amber Heard is not a party opponent. When you are offering the statement, you can offer the statement of a party opponent that's against their own interest, Johnny Depp. Amber Heard can say, Johnny Depp said this to me, Johnny Depp did this. Amber Heard can't offer what she said in response. It's not an admission of a party opponent, and that's why.
And that I was
Sky News is back.
Foolish,
Yay.
naive for
There we go.
thinking that
We'll come back to that one later.
people could invite me to a concert in a platonic way. I tried to say that it was fine.
Objection,
that it was-
hearsay.
Yeah, I tried to say. We just went through this.
She's
looking to the
testifying
judge.
About what Mr. Depp said, I don't understand.
I said.
I'll overrule that.
She said, I said.
Please continue.
I
I
said.
said I was foolish and naive, that no one could invite me to, how could I be so dumb to think that somebody could just invite me to a concert? Why would they want to hang out with me? Obviously, it was because they wanted more from me. I found out that he was in a hotel room with Paul Bettany.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay. Move forward. Because
When he came home, they had to carry him home.
Objection, hearsay.
She's
Did
annoyed.
you see them
I
carry
watched
him?
it.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Please continue.
I watched.
Cross-examination preview.
I was shocked that he could do it. One of the security guards carried Johnny like a baby.
November 2013, did you have any contact with Lily Rose that led to any
How is
discussions
this not
with Mr. Depp?
going to be hearsay?
Objection, leading.
It is.
What, if any, communications did you have with Lily Rose
Still
in
leading.
November 2013?
Objection calls for hearsay, leading.
I'm asking what her connection was. I didn't ask what she
I'm
said.
going to sustain the objection.
She's asking a question
November
that can't
2013,
be answered without
What,
hearsay.
if any,
That's why it was a problem.
interaction did you have with Lily Rose without saying anything she said?
Ask better
Objection,
questions.
hearsay.
Yep, it still calls for hearsay. The questions are asking.
Interaction, Your Honor. I'm not asking for what
You
she
are-
said.
If you can lay a foundation out.
Yes,
Okay.
the judge
Did there
just
come a-
kindly said, ask a better
Did there come a
question.
time in November
It doesn't call for an
2013
answer of
that
what
you
someone said.
Saw Lily Rose.
Yes, they came to stay with us.
And was there a particular incident that led to a disagreement with Mr. Depp?
Objection, leading.
Sustain.
What, if any, interaction did you have with Lily Rose that led to an argument
Still
with Mr.
kind
Depp?
of leading, but they're
Objection,
gonna-
leading.
Yep.
That, what, if any?
What if any doesn't just fucking fix it though? It's still. The judge is like, why are we having to go over what a direct question is?
Ms. Vasquez. Objection, leading. Ms. Bradhoft. What if any? Oh, God. can't. I can't. Oh, God, I can't. The court, if you could approach. Sidebar. The court. I understand. Oh, God. I understand what, if any, and I get that, but it's all the little extra that you're putting in there. It's just a little, Miss Bredhoft. I'm trying to see you. Look, what did I say? Called it. I'm trying to give context to move along, see? Oh my God, it was doomed from the very first sidebar, wasn't it? The court, I know, I understand that, I appreciate that, but I have to sustain the objection based on that, okay? Ms. Vasquez, thank you, and back to open court.
I have an
Attorneys.
argument with Mr. Depp relating to Lily Rose in
Still
November
leading.
2013.
Yes.
Leading.
Can you please describe that?
She's trying to
Well,
lay a foundation at a time, but it's still leading.
I didn't. I was.
For the
I'm
matter,
gonna
but the
ask you to
judge
take a look at
doesn't
defendant's
roll
Exhibit
that way.
209.
She absolutely did.
Your Honor, I'm going to object on hearsay grounds.
Well, let's see what this evidence is. It's interesting. She definitely described the second proposal as in a much happier way.
It's
Foundation
still
doesn't make it
hearsay.
not hearsay.
May we
Ms. Hurd,
approach?
did you? May I lay the foundation first?
Sure.
Ms. Hurd, did you communicate
Could still be hearsay.
Kate James by email in the ordinary course of your business?
Yes, I did.
If
Okay.
it's a business
And
record,
I'm
it
going
can
to
still
ask
be
you to
hearsay.
Take a look at defendant's 209. Is this a communication that was between you and Kate James that was in the ordinary course of business?
No, the glasses
with
are
her
on.
as an employee.
Yes, it is.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to move the
But
admission
she's
of
still
defendant's
she's reading
Exhibit
without the glasses
209.
on. She goes to read with the
Business
glasses on,
record
then she takes them off to
Still
read.
hearsay, Your Honor.
Business record exception gets the business record, but it's hearsay.
It's still hearsay.
If there's hearsay involved inside the business record, there's still objection to hearsay.
Why is the judge giving
Your
a
Honor, the
fucking
business
evidence
record
lesson on
exception,
hearsay?
I mean, I do.
No. No, the business record objection does not. Lawyers and law students in the chat, I hope you are also screaming at your screen.
Hearsay can,
Hearsay can't be overcome by the business records objection. The business records objection, the business records exception just lays the foundation for the document. They're giggling. They're like, how do we not know this by now?
Sidebar. The court. Business records exception number 1. I'm not sure emails, in parentheses, hearsay emails, are business records. Number 2, even if you get business records in, they come in, but if there's hearsay in those business records, that hearsay doesn't come in. Ms. Bredhoft. Your Honor. The court. But if you want to show me something different that says hearsay in every business record comes in, please show that to me. She's like, by all means, if you've got something that shows me that that's okay, you know. I think that's just probably a trick to try to get her to actually open the rules of evidence and read it. Pretty clever there, Judge A. Ms. Bredhoft. The exception, one of the exceptions to the hearsay rule is the business records exception and records of regularly conducted activity. And it says, I'm on 28036A, the record was made at or near the time of the acts, events, calculations, or conditions. B, the record was made and kept in the course of a regularly conducted activity of a business, organization, occupation. And here, that's awesome, where those 2 dashes are. That means Judge A is cutting her off here. The court. Keeping the record with a regular practice of that activity. This is an email. That's why it doesn't fit with the business record. So it's like Elaine's trying to be like, this is why it's a business record. Judge A's like, this is why it's not a business record. Ms. Bredhoft. That's how she communicated with her. She was her employee. The court. For custodian, business records are made for custodian, invoices, accounting, not people's, there it is, not people's hearsay emails back and forth. Neither the source of information nor the method or circumstances of preparation indicate a lack of trustworthiness. Ms. Bredhoft, why would this not be? The court, it's not a business record. Sustain the objection. Ms. Vasquez, thank you, Your Honor. Back to open court.
Okay. The lawyering right now, the lawyering is killing me with this a little bit. But here's the thing. The business records exception lays the foundation for why the document can come in. The document itself wouldn't be able to come in because it wouldn't have a proper foundation. Foundation means where the fuck did you come from? It has to be verified where you came from. You can't just like grab something and put it in evidence. You have to prove where that thing came from so that you can bring it in. I love Camille's like, can you get me the note? because we need to see it. Love this for her. She's like, did she just ask for the rules of evidence? Yes, that's what she wanted. They handed her the rules of evidence so she could prove the judge is reading the rules of evidence. This is hilarious. That's what they have in this book right here that they are pointing out to Elaine and trying to explain to her why the business records exception does not overcome the hearsay issue. So business records lays the foundation for how it can come in, how you know it's true, how you know how there's veracity in it. But that doesn't change the fact that if there's hearsay inside of it, that you can't overcome the hearsay inside of it with the foundation for the documents. The documents can have proper foundation because they're held in the ordinary course of business, but that doesn't mean that it's not hearsay inside the documents. Is she going to try it? Look, they're all like on the edge of their seat.
Communications did you have with Kate James about your issues
her
with
offering
Mr. Depp?
her own statements are still hearsay.
Objection, hearsay.
Ms. James has testified.
It doesn't
Sustain the
matter.
objection.
It's Amber Heard's statements. How do you not know this? How are you confused right now? How are you confused right now that Amber Heard's own statements can't be introduced by her own team?
Jump to February, March 2016. What, if any, communications did you have with Mr. Depp about a prenup?
Well, after the engagement, but before the engagement party, I started to.
I'll switch feeds at the break. I will.
I started to feel like it would make. I know that he earned significantly more than me, successful actor.
There's a lot of
I
knows.
wanted to eliminate any doubt in his mind and in other people's minds. So I brought it up to him and brought it up to my therapist.
Objection, hearsay.
Mhm.
She's just saying that she brought it up to her therapist. She's not saying what she said.
She is saying
But
what she
please
said.
focus on Mr. Depp, okay?
Of course.
You can't talk about
Johnny
you.
said he
She's
would
struggling
tear it up.
because she can't talk about her.
He said,
That's why this is so
if you ever
hard.
brought one up to me, or if I ever saw one, got my hands on it, I'd tear it up. Only way out of this is death. Only way out of this is death. I would have forgotten about the extent that we had those conversations early on in the engagement if it hadn't have been for my therapist's notes.
I'm sorry, if it hadn't been for your what?
If it hadn't been for my therapist's notes, which were
Okay.
taken at the time when I was talking to her about this and my conversations with
Objection, hearsay.
Okay.
That's how she
I'll
remembered
sustain
it.
the
We'll move
objection.
on. Okay.
But that was pretty much it for the engagement party. And I went downstairs and entertained guests and smiled and took pictures and put on a face and, went about my evening.
All right. What, if any, discussions or arguments did you have with Mr. Depp relating to James Franco?
I mean, if anyone on that jury's
timeframe
had a
of May
broken nose, that testimony is going to
2014?
hit them as sus. My eyes want to water thinking about breaking my nose right now.
It's a nightmare.
I can, yep.
I wanted to do this independent film.
I'm struggling.
Liked the story. I liked the character. I told him I'm not going to wear makeup in the thing. but-
Objection, hearsay.
Apparently what? Narrate it, Elaine. Narrate it. Let's approach again and talk again about the fundamentals of hearsay.
Ms. Vasquez, objection, hearsay, Ms. Bredehoft. Apparently, the court. Ms. Bredehoft, if we could approach, please. Get over here now. Sidebar, the court. I don't need those side comments. Ms. Bredehoft. I apologize for that. I'm just so baffled. I don't know why. The court. If there's a prior statement that she's made, it's hearsay, unless you have an exception for it. Context is not an exception. Ms. Bredehoft. State of mind? Present sense? The court. No, those are not exceptions for I wasn't going to wear makeup. Ms. Bredehoft. I mean, it's context as well, Your Honor. Ms. Bredehoft. I mean, it's context as well, Your Honor. The court. Context is not an exception. Ms. Bredehoft. It's not offered for the truth of the matter. The court. Then what's it offered for? Ms. Bredehoft. Offered to show, well, it doesn't matter whether she was wearing makeup or not, Your Honor. That's not the court. Then it's not relevant. Ms. Bredehoft. but it's leading up to the argument. It's still context, Your Honor. The court, context, Ms. Bredehoft. Prior statement is hearsay unless there's an exception. Context is not an exception to that. Or if it's not offered for the truth of the matter, what is it offered for? Ms. Bredehoft. It's offered for context. We're just going in circles here, it looks like, people. The court. That's not... Okay. I'll sustain the objection. Ms. Vasquez. Thank you, Your Honor. Back to open court.
Elaine is now being told by the judge again why statements from Amber Heard can't be admitted by her. And it's very, very interesting to watch Elaine try to say, but no, this is not being offered for the truth of the matter. The judge has sustained these objections consistently the entire trial. And there are times I have said, that's not the truth offered for the truth of the matter. And the judge does not want to hear it. She has been sustaining those hearsay objections consistently this entire trial. And she is not going to start changing the way she's ruling now. You are not getting into statements by
So
this party of
Tell the
I
jury
said
what
this.
Mr. Depp said.
And again, Amber
He
Heard
was
is very much
mad at
struggling
me
to talk
for
about someone
taking
not
the
herself.
job with James Franco.
She wants to tell the
He
first person narrative.
Hated James Franco.
So I'm going to take you to the Boston plane incident. We've heard about that earlier, May 24. Can you please describe for the jury
What year are we in?
what took place?
Because we're time traveling like
on May
Dr. fucking Who in this
24,
thing, and I am confused.
relating to the
Help
plane
a girl
incident?
out.
Did there come a time that you tape recorded Mr. Depp?
Eventually started howling like an animal and passed out in the bathroom with the door locked. And was howling. And I at some point pushed record on my phone because
Was he passed out or was he yelling?
there was that 5% part of me.
Objection non-responsive.
I
That's
don't think it's
fair.
non-responsive. She's
Well,
explaining
your opinion doesn't
what
matter.
led up to her tape recording and why.
She
I mean, I'll
didn't
just
ask
ask,
that.
I mean, I can ask her,
Okay.
will that solve it?
Yes.
Why
Ask her the
did you
question.
tape record him?
Why did you tape record him?
I knew that Johnny wouldn't remember what he had done. I knew he would not remember. And if
Calls for speculation.
She can say what
She can say why.
she did it and what she thought.
But that last part called for speculation. I'll sustain
Don't
the objection.
say I knew.
Don't tell her
Why
how to
did you
testify.
tape
Don't
record?
say,
in my experience, when Johnny was that inebriated,
don't say
would not
this.
remember
Don't say
what
that.
he had done.
Calls for speculation.
The jury is going to
How can
see
that
this
call for
attorney trying to tell
speculation?
her.
I'll sustain the objection.
This attorney, they're seeing this attorney
All right,
telling her how to
let's go to
testify.
defendants 221.
And that's why they keep objecting at these moments,
and I'm going to play
because Elaine is
3
trying to
different
fix
parts
it
for
and she can't fix it.
Your Honor,
And if
may
you
we
can-
approach, please?
Signed by the court. 221, Ms. Vasquez. So I anticipate this is the Boston plane recording. Oh, God. The court. It seems like it. That's where we are. We live here now, Judge A. Ms. Vasquez. Yeah, so there are other voices on this recording besides Mr. Depp. The court, okay. Ms. Vasquez, so I ask that those voices, the court, the clips you have aren't with other people's voices, correct? Ms. Bredehoft, one of them is yes. The first two are him howling, but Your Honor, that doesn't, I mean, she's authenticated that she's made the recording. The court, doesn't matter. Hearsay can still be involved in tapes too. So the other people on there, you're trying to get their statements in. That would be hearsay. Ms. Bredehoft, I'm not offering that. The court, okay. Ms. Bredehoft, for the truth of the matter. The court, what do they say? Ms. Bredehoft, he says he's going to stay with this fucking idiot until he gets, in case he gets sick. But I'm not offering it for that. I'm offering for what's going on with the howling. The court, I'm going to sustain as to that statement. Ms. Bredehoft, then the first two I'm offering the court. The first two are just him howling. Is that right? Howling? Is that what we're talking about here? Ms. Bredehoft, right. The court, so just him howling and there's no other sounds or just her? Ms. Bredehoft, no, I don't believe so. Jerry Judge is just on the third. The court, so you're just going to do the first two? Ms. Vasquez, that's fine, Your Honor. The court, so you're not going to get the whole thing in. We're just going to call the first one A and the second one B. Is that okay? So A is going to be Ms. Bredehoft, 0 to 1 minute. The court, okay. B, Ms. Bredehoft, B will be 250 to 320, the court. And then, after we hear these audios, why don't we wrap up for our morning break? Will that be okay? Okay, thank you, Ms. Vasquez. Thank you, Your Honor. Back to open court.
So we're going to start with 221 and we're going to call it A, and that'll be 0.
So they're
through
trying to
1
admit
minute.
something into evidence. We'll see what they're admitting. I didn't hear another objection. I don't know if there was one, but we'll see.
Sidebar. Ms. Bredhoft, I think all three of them have already been admitted into evidence and were played during Mr. Depp's examination, cross-examination, the court. Do you have any of the audio? I don't remember the numbers, so you have to tell me which numbers you think they are. Ms. Bredhoft, yes, it's already been played, Your Honor. It was played during Mr. Depp's cross-examination. Wait, isn't that what she just said? Yes, it is what she just said. The court. Now the third one, because they say Jerry Judge is in the third one, and I have not heard any recordings of other people. Mr. Needlehoft. Oh, he's joined the party, looks like. Remember during his, well, we can check at the break. The court, yeah, you can check, but let's just do these two now. How about that? Mr. Needlehoff, that's fine. Ms. Bredhoff, we're going to start with the first one with 0 to 1 minute. And can you turn up the volume? There's part of it. The noise of the airplane is a little bit loud to be able to pick up the noise.
Turn up the volume just.
So we're getting to audio.
There's part of it that the noise of the airplane is a little bit
This is the howling audio, maybe?
to be able to pick up the noise.
Audio's coming in. Warning audio.
Whereupon the following audio clip was played. Some moaning ensues, followed by more moaning.
Must have this fucking head in case you get sick.
I wish I'd screenshotted that face. It's called smirk. What was that audio of?
You can be changing gears after that, or do you have any more questions for this issue?
No, I think this would be fine
Okay,
for a break.
all right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take our morning break then. Just do not do any outside research and don't discuss the case with anybody.
The jury is being dismissed, and we are getting into our morning break.
Very brief recess from 11:26 to 11:42. Sidebar, sidebar. Miss Bredhoft, Your Honor, I'm going to have a series of text messages. No! Oh dear. The court, okay? Miss Bredhoft, emails, so I thought I would just head it off. The court, sure. That's a great idea, Miss Bredhoft. Looking at Rule 2803, the court, hearsay exception. Miss Bredhoft, it says the following are not excluded by the hearsay rule, the court, right? Miss Bredhoft, even though the declarant is available and we've got admission by party opponent, the court, right? We've done that. Miss Bredhoft, we have present sense impression, the court, right? I understand, I'm very familiar. Miss Bredhoft, I accept that, Your Honor, but, and business records is also in the hearsay exception, I'm going to be putting a number of them, and I'm going to be arguing with each of them that it is present sense impression and then existing state of mind. But I'm going to put them in. I need you to put them in, even if Your Honor rules against them. The court, anything you identify is part of the record. You can't put them into evidence. It's part of the record. Miss Bredhoft, I understand, and I fully appreciate and respect that Your Honor has the right to rule however Your Honor wants to. The court, yeah, Miss Bredhoft, just wanted to give you a heads up on that. The court, okay, Miss Bredhoft. These are my two, predominantly the two exceptions I'm relying on with this series. And there are some that are just spontaneous. Some of them are even almost, they're saying, the court, I have to take them one at a time, Miss Bredhoft. I appreciate that, Your Honor. I just kind of wanted to preview. Court. Thank you, Miss Vasquez. Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Bredhoft. Okay. Back to open court.
Like, WAP, we are professionals here.
I'm going to ask you
noses,
to take a look
there
at
would be Dr.
defendants
Records.
204. Did you reach out to
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay and leading.
We just fucking talked about this, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I would direct Your Honor's attention to the first one in blue and the third one in blue.
Just this was an
And I would say
issue.
present sense impression and
They there's a real actual foundation,
the,
a legal
state-
objection, a
state of
legal
mind at that time.
opposition.
Yes.
Now we're gonna have to talk about hearsay more. Didn't you just do this? You just approached. Why didn't you bring it up then?
Sidebar. The court. All right, so I'm going to overrule as to present sense impression. Again, it's past present sense impression has to be happening at the time. If she called from the plane saying, he's kicking me, for example, Ms. Vasquez, overrule or sustain? The court, sustain. Sustain. He's kicking me. Sorry, thank you. He's kicking me. Those are present sense impressions. Ms. Bredhoft, Your Honor, quote, I need your help, JD, end quote. The court, yeah, JD, he's passed out on the plane, Ms. Vasquez, but she says here, I'm headed to the court. That's the one I'm talking about, that one, so I need your help, Ms. Bredhoft. Yes, I think that's state of mind. That's mental state of mind at that point, Your Honor. Mental state of mind. Oh, okay, right. So she's coined a new term here. It's a combo of mental condition and state of mind. So you combine those two and you get a new hearsay exception called mental state of mind. And I don't know that anybody's pointed that out yet, actually. That's creative. That's mental state of mind at that point, Your Honor. The court, when are these texts, Ms. Bredhoft? This text is at 5:24, and right before that, Ms. Vasquez, she's already off the plane, Your Honor, and she's headed to AD. AD is one of Mr. Depp's residences, suite, sir. Ms. Bredhoft, Your Honor, the cases that we cited, even on the excited utterance and the present sense, it says it doesn't have to be immediate. It can be after. So clearly it's state of mind. I think she means mental state of mind. The court, well, the cases that you have, she had already been assaulted, and then she was calling and giving a license plate number. Ms. Bredhoft, that's one of them. That's correct. The court, she's already off the plane. She testified that on the plane she was sitting, looking out the window. Ms. Bredhoft, it's state of mind. I need your help. The court, she said she was looking out the window for a time, and then she was off the plane. Ms. Vasquez, and she recorded him. The court, then she recorded it. Just the window of her state of mind. So I'm going to sustain the objection. Both of those, okay? Ms. Vasquez, thank you, Your Honor. The court, thank you. Back to open court.
Defendants 205.
So they've fixed whatever they needed to fix. They've had a conversation about whatever they need to have a conversation with. Question, what would it mean for Amber's side if she got
Between
sanctioned?
you and Rocky Pennington,
It
your
would
best friend, is that correct?
Cost
That's
them
correct.
money? And
Objection, hearsay.
we just approached. Why can't y'all sort this the fuck out when you approach? Ah.
Sidebar. It's a sidebar. The court. All right. Do you want to make your responses for the record? Ms. Bredhoft. Yes, Your Honor. The, quote, I'm not good, end quote, is clearly state of mind, mental condition at that point. Quote, JD is drinking again and using some new round of prescription meds. He just freaked on me. Never seen him like this before. It's worse than I've ever seen before. It's over. Maybe not forever, but we're definitely on a break, end quote. That's also state of mind, and it's also present sense impression. The court. Okay, I'm going to sustain as to present sense impression. Again, it's after the fact. And she's just talking about this, what she says happened, with a D at the end. And you're saying the first one, quote, I'm not good, end quote, is her state of mind? Ms. Bredhoft, definitely state of mental mind. Love it. Wait, and hold on. So before, it was... Wait, now this is even better because, all right, yeah, so right here, I don't know if you can see my cursor. So before she had a combo mental state of mind. Okay, so now it's, here it is, state of mental mind. So both are combos, but they're different. So we've got combo number one, mental state of mind, and number two, state of mental mind. That's actually my favorite just because of the redundancy with mental and mind. So I'm going to, and again, I don't know that anyone really pointed this out, but I think this is amazing. And that's definitely my favorite hearsay exception of all time. State of mental mind. Ms. Bredhoft, definitely state of mental mind. The court. All right, what's your response to that? Ms. Vasquez, it's vague. I'm not good. She could be not good in a lot of senses. There's no context here. I'm not good. The court. All right, so state of mind must relate to a mental state that is relevant to the litigation. How is this relevant to the litigation, Ms. Bredhoft? She just got, after being abused, she just got off the plane and she's not good. That's highly relevant. He's saying that he never abused her and that she abused him, Ms. Vasquez. She doesn't say she was abused. She just says, quote, I'm not good, end quote. The court. I'm going to overrule the objection to, quote, I'm not good, end quote, but I'm going to sustain us to the last one, okay? Thank you, Ms. Vasquez. Thank you. Ms. Bredhoft. This needs to be redacted. The court. So 205 with redactions is in evidence. Ms. Bredhoft. Thank you, Your Honor. May we publish to the jury? The court. It is. Ms. Bredhoft. Thank you. Back to open court.
Why can't we get it together? Team. Why can't we get it together? Why is this so hard?
May we publish to the jury? Thank
Yes,
you.
if she loses, she can appeal.
So
I don't know if there's any appealable issues.
Rocky
though.
on this is Rocky Pennington, your best friend. Is that correct?
Congratulations,
Yes,
Liz, the
okay.
songbird.
And when did you send this communication to Rocky?
Oh, we pinged.
Once I had
Thanks,
touched down in LA,
And you said,
Date,
I'm not
time.
good. What did you mean by that?
that I needed help.
You didn't say you needed help. You said, I'm not
I-
good.
Did you text
Maybe.
your mother and your father about this incident?
Objection, hearsay.
If you want to,
What, if any, communication did you have with your mother or your father following this incident?
Objection, hearsay.
sustain that objection.
She can't say what she said.
Let's go to defendants 222 and.
No, I don't think we'll get to cross today.
Your Honor,
no dumb
I suspect
questions.
We're going to be back up.
All right, you want to keep on approach? That's fine.
Might be a
Sidebar. The court. All right. The court. All right. So the one from the father is obviously hearsay, right? Ms. Bredhoft. Yeah, the one I'm looking at is in the blue box, and that is state of mind, state of mental mind, and present sense impression. She's going through and recounting what transpired. The court. And when was Ms. Bredhoft? This was 524. The court. You're saying present sense impression for all of this? Ms. Bredhoft. Yes, it's describing what transpired. Well, okay, wait, hold on. So present sense impression, we've covered this, right? And then transpired is past tense because there's a D at the end. Yes, it's describing what transpired, and then it's also state of mind, how she is feeling about this and her struggle. Ms. Vasquez. After the fact, Your Honor. Ms. Bredhoft. Even after the fact, that doesn't take out state of mind. The court. Present sense impression is not after the fact. It is a, say it with me now, present sense. Ms. Bredhoft. It's state of mind. She's saying where she is and how confused she is. The court. I'm going to sustain the objection to this. All right. Thank you. Ms. Vasquez. Thank you, Your Honor. Back to open court.
I
What
think
if
they will get
any-
into that on cross.
Communications did you have with Kate James following the Boston plane incident?
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, if we go to 224,
Okay. 224.
Not
my
sure.
argument would be business records exception.
That's not an exception to hearsay.
Forward, we can do it.
What is happening today, and why is Amber Heard's team not all the way together? Like, why are we not all the way together? Why is she looking woefully at the jury? I am so annoyed.
Sidebar. The court. Let me just read it. All right. You're saying the text message is business records? I remember this. Ms. Bredhoff. Yeah, yes, with her employee. She's talking about the hotel arrangements. She's asking her to book her on the plane, which is what her role is. She works for her. The court. But that, Ms. Bredhoff, redirecting her texts, etc. So it's a business record. But, Your Honor, the exception says it's also a business record exception. That's an exception to the hearsay rule. The court. It's an exception, but then it also says, I can read it to you. If there's any opinions in it, then that has to cover that hurdle. Didn't we already? I'm having deja vu. Ms. Bredhoff. But the court, and this is clearly all opinions in here. It's bad. It's worse than ever. Those are all opinions. Even if you get it in as a business record, none of the opinions come in unless you have another reason. Ms. Bredhoff. So here's my other question. Kate James has testified and was allowed to testify. The court. I can only handle the objections that are brought before me. Ms. Bredhoff. I understand. She testified because it was admissions against interest. The court. Right? Ms. Bredhoff. She said Amber Heard, was having a great time, wasn't worried about it, never said anything to her. Can't I do an impeachment on that? The court. Miss James is not on the stand right now, Ms. Bredhoff, but she was a witness and it would be impeachment. The court. You can only impeach the person that's on the stand, okay? Ms. Bredhoff. Okay. The court. I'll sustain the objection. Back to open court.
Why are we not together, people? You knew for like a year that she was going to testify. You know what you are going to put into evidence. Why, oh, why do you not it ready to know if it is a statement of Amber Heard, they are going to object to hearsay because she is not allowed to put in her own statements unless there is an exception to the hearsay rule. The business records exception is a foundational exception. It doesn't go to hearsay per se. I am so annoyed. I can't believe we're here again.
What, if anything, did you do the evening
And she lost
the
and moved on.
24th of May?
She lost on that whole thing with the whatever text they were trying to bring in.
I reached out to
I don't know what he's
friends and
doing.
family, asked for support.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
Move on,
Surrounded
Elaine.
myself with them, with that.
Trying to make
What, if
fetch
anything,
happen
did
is
you
trying to make
do
something that's not
for
a thing.
Lily Rose's birthday.
That's why we had gone back to LA.
We'll see.
Johnny was sick after having passed out on the plane. So I took her to dinner.
It's fun being a legal commentator for this trial.
We went to Benihana's.
I'm going to ask you to now turn to 225.
Yes, lawnerdshop.com. I have all kinds of stuff. What item are they getting
You're
to?
going to be referring to the last two blue spots on that page
The court ordered
with the state of
the
mind.
court ordered date to turn over all of her information was at the end of November last year, and it has still not been done yet.
Mental condition.
It's an issue.
All right.
It doesn't, it's still hearsay, Your Honor.
Okay.
May we approach?
I'm flabbergasted that this is what's happening right now. I don't have words.
The court. Yeah. Would you want to approach? I just want to make sure I get the right context. The right context for a sidebar. Oh. All right. The court. Which one's the last two? Miss Vasquez. Yeah. Miss Bredhoft. The last two. Crying my eyes out. The court. She's sending them in two separate texts. All right. Crying my eyes out. So now this is Miss Bredhoft. State of mind. Again, every time I read that now, it will forever be state of mental mind. Just saying. The court. After dinner, Miss Vasquez. After dinner, when she's at a hotel. The court. We're losing context here because this is after she took the daughter. I remember this timeline was very weird. It was no one had any idea what was going on. Miss Bredhoft. Well, true. It's after what she remember that Kate James testified. She was having a great time. She was consuming and no big deals. She wasn't upset at all. And this is what she's expressing to Kate James, and she's crying her eyes out, which is her state of mind at that point. She's crying her eyes out. She's very upset. The court, but you're trying to relate it back to the time on the plane, her state of mind. State of mind needs to be right before she can once again say, then she, of course, interrupts. Miss Bredhoft interrupts. Sure, she's still upset. It just didn't go away. The court. I'll sustain the objection. Thank you, Miss Vasquez. Thank you, Your Honor. Back to open court.
So they should be getting back to asking God only knows what, because they aren't able to get into these text messages that they seem to want to get into. And some of this might be a problem. They're happy with how this is going.
I'm going to ask
Clearly.
you to turn now to 228.
Okay, so she lost on whatever that last thing was, and they've moved on to a different exhibit. They're not going to get sanctioned on this. I don't know what she's trying to.
Your Honor, we're going
Do.
to object on hearsay.
First line, Your Honor,
Okay.
is all I'm.
She's got the rules of evidence in hand.
Ruling, but I think
I understand Your Honor's ruling, but I think you think what? You think this goes around the court's ruling? This is fucking embarrassing to watch. I have deep levels of embarrassment. We are at noon and they can't get in a question. They keep moving from exhibit to exhibit to exhibit, trying to put this.
The court. All right. If you want to come forward, that's fine. The court. All right. State of mind. All right. And this is Miss Bredhoft. I need your help. I think that's clearly her state. Didn't she just say that? The court. How is that her state of mind? I got the other one and I understand that. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Miss Vasquez. I believe you just sustained an objection to the same type of message. The court. I understand. Miss Bredhoft. Actually, I thought the, quote, I need your help, end quote, to Rocky came in for precisely that reason. The court, well, she had just gotten off the plane. Is that where we're at now, or is this after dinner again? See what I mean? Like, this is Judge A is like, I don't even know what's happening. Miss Bredehoft, 7:57. Miss Vasquez, on what day? The 20. Miss Bredehoft, 4th. Miss Vasquez, 24th. Miss Bredehoft, to her sister. Miss Vasquez, that was sustained. Miss Bredehoft, I still think it's her state of mind, Your Honor. She's saying, quote, I need help, end quote. The court, so you're just trying to get, quote, I need help, end quote. Miss Bredehoft, right, recognizing I would like to get all of them. The court, no, I understand that. Miss Bredehoft, I fully appreciate Your Honor's ruling. Do you, though? The court, a statement of the declarant's then existing state of mind, emotion, sensation, or physical condition, but not including a statement of memory or belief to prove the fact remembered. Miss Bredehoft, that's not a memory. I think that's clearly a state of mind. I need help. Miss Vasquez, Your Honor, you just sustained the same objection to quote, I need help, end quote, to Rocky Pennington. It's the same thing. It's honestly the same message. The court, it is the same message. Miss Vasquez, this is what she did. Miss Bredehoft, this is what she did? Miss Vasquez, doesn't matter. The court, I don't see, quote, I need your help, end quote, going to state of mind. I'm going to sustain the objection. Miss Vasquez, thank you, Your Honor. Miss Bredehoft, present sense impression? The court, noted for the record. Packed up the court.
Are they moving on? Moving on.
Tell us.
She lost that one too.
Please tell the jury what you did then over that night, the
Where
next
are we?
day. And
I've forgotten where in time we are.
At the hotel.
No. What hotel? Where are we? What is happening?
What, if any, communications did you have with Stephen Duders?
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor,
She called for the conversation. You asked for the conversation.
What, if any, communications did you have with Mr. Duders communicating on behalf of Mr. Depp?
Objection, hearsay.
I
I'd say agency on that, Your Honor.
You have to lay a foundation for that.
Yes, you
All
do.
right, let's go to
This judge
229A.
is beyond patient.
And what, if any,
She looks annoyed. I would be. This is
communication were you
frustrating for her.
having with
This is
him
not her fault.
following the Boston plane incident?
I'm sorry
Objection,
for that,
hearsay.
Tina.
May we approach?
All right.
For fuck's sake. All of the fucks. For the sake of all of the fucks.
Sidebar, Miss Vasquez. So I'll let Miss Bredehoft, the court. What was your objection first, Miss Vasquez? My objection is hearsay, Your Honor. Very few employees are hired to be speaking agents. Mr. Duders, while acting as an assistant to Mr. Depp, was not in charge of communicating with his then girlfriend/fiance, and statements on speaking agents only on matters within the sphere of their responsibilities, the court, and during the terms of their employment. Miss Vasquez, and during the terms of their employment, the court. I understand that. Miss Bredehoft, he says here he's teary. He doesn't want to be a fuck-up anymore. His words, and he testified in his deposition, and Your Honor will remember we showed that Mr. Depp told him to reach out to Amber. The court, depositions aren't foundation for here, okay? So if you had him here to testify that, he told him to say that. Wait, so if you had him here, so this is like an incomplete sentence. So if you had him here to testify that he told him to say that, then she's saying it would have been different. Miss Bredehoft, so we should wait until later on these? How's that going to help you think? Ms. Vasquez, the deposition, you didn't rule on it. The court, okay, I didn't rule, so it wasn't part of the designation. Ms. Vasquez, no. The court, so his deposition is not coming in? Ms. Vasquez, correct. Ms. Bredehoft, I'm not positive we won't want to put that in, Your Honor. The court, we can't. The depositions are done. Ms. Bredehoft, I understand. Again, the court, depositions are done in this case. Ms. Bredehoft, I understand. I highly doubt that. The court, that ruling isn't happening. Ms. Bredehoft, I understand. My argument here, of course, right, is for the entirety of 29, which goes from 29A through M. It's admission by a party opponent, a statement by the party's agent or employee. Didn't we just do this? Again, deja vu. I'm having deja vu of deja vu. It's like deja vu inception happening. A statement by the party's agent or a statement by the party's agent or employee made during the term of the agency or employment concerning a matter within the scope of such agency or employment. The court, right. That's what I have here. I understand that. But I don't see the foundation for that. Only matters within the sphere of their responsibilities and during the term of their employment. Ms. Bredehoft, so if I lay a foundation that she's communicating within the court, you already said that. You already laid that foundation. Ms. Bredehoft, he is an employee. The court, it doesn't. Ms. Bredehoft, the deposition test. Didn't we just cover the deposition? Oh my God. The deposition. The deposition testimony on this. The court, You're saying as a personal assistant, it was in his realm of employment to text the girlfriend of his employer? Ms. Brodhoff, that's what he testified. The court, nope, that is not before me. Ms. Brodhoff, yes. The court, I'll sustain the objection. Ms. Vasquez, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Brodhoff, but I am making, oh dear Lord. The court, I'm sorry, which one? 229? For the record, I want to make sure I get them all. A through, Ms. Brodhoff, M. The court, N? Ms. Brodhoff, M. The court, M as in Mary? Ms. Brodhoff, yes. The court, so 229, the court, so 229 A through M, I'll sustain the objection. Note your objection for the record for appeal. Ms. Vasquez, thank you, Your Honor. The court, okay. Open court.
This goes against their
communicate at
time,
all
not
with
Depp's
Mr.
time.
Depp in the days
This goes against their time,
following
not his
the
time.
Boston Plain incident?
Each team gets
Yes,
their own
I
time.
did.
Please tell the jury about those communications.
I heard from him
After the
directly.
break, I don't think
also
we'll be
heard
done
from
today.
There was assistants who were texting for him.
Objection, Your
Only
Honor,
Ms. Vasquez.
hearsay.
I'll sustain the
You-
objection.
You're not allowed to testify about the text messages with his assistant. but can
Only
you
Ms.
tell the jury
Vasquez,
about your
because
communications
this
with
is her
Mr. Depp?
witness. So one attorney, one witness.
Okay. It's kind of confusing because he was texting through them.
Objection,
Right,
Your
I-
Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. I'll strike that from the record. You'll disregard that testimony.
Ooh,
Please answer the question.
the judge is
Just
pissed. Did you hear her?
Confine it to
The judge was like, I will
communications you
strike
had
that
with
from the
Mr. Depp,
record.
please.
The judge is
That
mad.
he was sorry.
That was-
and, told me that he was in a blackout.
That was
He
something.
didn't remember everything.
There we go. That's responsive.
Draft any kind of email to.
This is
Mr.
why
Depp
Camille Vasquez is the
to
attorney
express your
that
emotions
is
and
going to
how
cross-examine
you
Amber.
felt about all this.
Objection, hearsay.
Does call for hearsay.
She's
trying to get to present sense-
Lay the foundation, Your Honor.
She's
Let's
trying to
go
get to present
defendant's
sense impression.
239.
239.
She's trying to get to present sense impression, which is somebody reciting something in real time. So it's not hearsay because it's a recording or a capturing of what they were experiencing at the moment. But I think this is intentional, so they look bad.
Objection, hearsay, Your Honor.
They're
And I
looking
would
at the
say
document.
both present sense impression and definitely state of mind, Your Honor.
I don't have
Sustain the
Discord,
objection.
but you can tag me on social media at the
So-
Emily D. Baker and DM me.
Did you ultimately communicate
She lost that objection too.
to Mr. Depp
Thank you.
what you first drafted up in an email without saying anything about what's in the email?
That calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
I'm just asking if she did.
Not what she said.
Correct.
Okay. Overruled.
Did you communicate to Mr.
Thank
Depp
you.
what you had drafted in the email? And you don't get to say what you said.
I don't think they're stalling.
Yes.
Okay.
I think they don't
And
know how to get some of these
what, if
things
any,
in.
response did Mr. Depp
And the-
have
This is how the
to
judge has been
your
ruling.
sending that email to him?
This is a better way to do this questioning. How did he respond to the email? Fine.
He came to New York
Thank you. It's never too late.
to fight for the relationship, for me, to prove that he was sober and he was committed to changing.
Wait. In all of those audios, she said, "You're not fighting for me." And now she's mad that he came to New York to fight for her. It's completely inconsistent with the audio.
So I'm going to take you now up to
And she's like, I don't
The
believe this for a
June-
second.
through August 2014 timeframe. And I think you testified earlier, and others have as well, that Mr. Depp brought in Dr.
Stop
Kipper. in his group,
testifying, Elaine.
correct?
Yes, he did. The plan was he would obviously abstain from alcohol completely and all other drugs like weed and coke. And then when he finished filming, the plan was to do
Objection,
the
Your
full
Honor,
detox.
hearsay.
I think she should
Lack
let
of
that one.
foundation.
Just let that one go. We already know some of
I
this stuff
don't
from Dr.
understand.
Kipper.
What the objection, I don't think it is. I think she was just explaining.
Your
the
opinion's
context there. I don't
irrelevant.
think She was saying
But we
what
could lay
somebody
a
said.
foundation how she knew.
The legal,
How did you know that?
I was involved in the conversations
then it is hearsay.
with the doctors and with his sister.
And then it's what they told you.
Objection,
And
Your Honor,
that's-
that's still hearsay.
All right, I'll
Okay,
sustain the
that
objection.
part is. So.
Yes, Your Honor, that part is.
what
Yes,
did-
thank you.
what
We
happened
know.
next
Oh my God.
as a result of these communications, without saying what the communication
Y'all,
was?
A nurse came to
the
Boston
wheels are coming off. of the
where Johnny
tricycle
was,
that is this
just would
direct
come for
examination.
short periods of time. They put Johnny on a bunch of
a
new
lot of people that didn't
medications,
really
which
know
they
them.
shared with me, told me about.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I mean, she's not saying what she
You have to be
said.
careful about what other people.
She's not
say.
telling her how to testify.
Okay, but you can testify to what you know, okay?
Wow.
So did there come a time then that Mr. Depp went into detox for Roxycodines or whatever they're called?
Roxycodines.
Yes,
And when was that?
that would have been early August of
She's been
2014. I
working this
believe
case for
we
years.
left. We were there for,
Roxycodines.
I think, a week to 10 days, 8 through the 18th.
I believed
We'll go-
every
ladies
bit of
and
that
gentlemen,
before
Go ahead and take
lunch.
our lunch break at this time until 2:00. Please do not discuss the case or do any outside research, okay? Thank you.
Michelle, can you bring up Defendant's Exhibit 236, which has already
I covered
been
it a bit.
admitted?
They've got
Thank
to
you.
start. They've got to start out without coming in hot.
Amber, I'm jumping back to the Boston plane incident just
Why?
for a moment.
Oh God,
We had a
no!
lot of different text and a lot of exchange, but I just wanted
That's
to
a
point
lot of
out to you, this
exposition,
text
Elaine.
messages from,
Where are my notes?
this is from Mr. Depp to you, correct?
Yes, it
And
is.
this, so you flew to Australia and met with Mr. Depp, right? And I'm going to, can we pull up Defendant's 1809? And Your Honor, these are some of the pictures that Mr. King, you
Don't-
may recall, was testifying
don't
earlier, said he had on his
explain.
phone.
Don't
And then those were
explain.
given,
No,
so-
no, don't
So I
testify.
have these, is what you're saying. Okay, that's fine.
You can lay the foundation for them.
1809.
Correct.
She had a very strong response to
Just
the
gonna show you
MDMA.
a few pictures. Amber, do you recognize, and I realize you didn't take this photo. I'm going to move the admission of it though, Your Honor.
Any objection to 1809?
No, thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right, 1809 in evidence, you can publish.
And let me
Are we getting to
pass
Australia?
one up and give one to the other side. We tried to, given the strangeness of this.
Given the strangeness of what, Elaine?
Put your-
Yes. Thank you.
Is
I
that it?
appreciate it.
Strangeness. What is that? Is that a kangaroo? I've got questions. Wait a sec. There's.
Amber, do you
Wait.
recognize
Damn it!
this
Were there
photo?
kangaroos? Did I miss the kangaroos?
And could you tell the jury what this is?
Can you publish this again?
That is
There we go.
the
I need a
driveway
screenshot.
leading up to the house
There
that
are
Johnny was
kangaroos.
renting while shooting Pirates 5.
Those are totally kangaroos. Look right there. Right there.
And then
Wicked.
I'm going to,
Sorry, non-Australian.
I'm going to make this,
I
I'm
get-
gonna make this a
I
little
get excited.
faster and I'm going to
I
go
get excited.
18 for 10. I'm going to,
Ms. Bredhoff, if you have a series of photos, if you want to
Yes.
show council what they are, maybe we can
Uh-huh.
get them entered all together and
Maybe
then
we
you
could-
could just
Maybe we could just do
Yes.
this
go
in
on
a
with your
professional way.
questions.
In a
Yes.
professional way. Maybe we could just do
Yes.
this. Okay.
and these
So,
are all I will represent,
um,
ones that we got from Mr. King.
All right, if you want to take a look at them.
And Your Honor, if I may just approach, I'll give you the whole stack.
Okay,
too.
that's
That might be-
fine.
Why isn't this handled in advance? We know what we're admitting.
By the way, Amber, do you see those kangaroos? in there?
When I was pulling up to the house, I saw kangaroos
You didn't ask a
as
question.
well.
Wait, are we still in direct or are we approaching
This
the
was a
bench?
pretty big driveway.
What's
It
happening?
was a pretty
I don't
ice.
have any objection. Sorry.
No objection to
Oh
any
my
of them?
God, this is
I'm
such a
really
mess
sorry,
right
But make
now.
sure you look through them all too. I just want to make sure, because
Thank
I'll
you,
go ahead and read
Yeah,
them to
can
the
we
record once
finish
you-
dealing with
looked
the
through them
evidence
all.
and then get into
And then-
questioning? Amber, do you see the kangaroos? What's happening right now? What is happening? Finish with the evidence. Don't ask her another question. I swear. Just what in the world is happening?
So we'll enter into evidence.
Are there more kangaroos?
1804.
Because we all deserve it.
1805, 1806.
We deserve kangaroos.
1807, 1808, 1810, 1811, 1812.
So we're marking all of these photos.
1814, 1815,
This is a lot of photos.
1825, 1827, 1834.
Oh, that's a lot of photos.
1835, 1837, 1841, and 1842. Did I get them all?
I believe so.
I want to make sure more than believe so. We agree that's solid and evidence. Okay. They're all
I
in
believe
evidence.
so doesn't work,
as long as you're
Elaine.
just
We
gonna
need to
be
know.
Referencing those photos, we'll keep it on
We're
before
going
you
to
can
keep it
publish
moving.
them.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it.
I didn't write anything on the mirrors. I was as confused as anyone in hearing that testimony.
And
It's an odd answer.
based on looking at this area that I have circled.
So who wrote in lipstick on the mirror then?
Is the black on top or underneath
Like,
the
that's
red?
so
Objection, Your
odd.
Honor. Calls for speculation, leading.
I sustain the objection.
Yeah, it's all. Ask non-leading questions. But we're never going to get through this. This is why she's
You know, it's
asking
a good
her.
time to take a break. Why don't we go ahead
Thank
and
God.
take our afternoon break, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and have our break. Do not discuss the testimony with anybody and don't do any outside research. We'll come back here. All right, in 15 minutes.
You know, if I come into this with a bias anyway, and my own, which again, as an attorney, I'm used to being like, how do I feel about this? But what are the facts showing me? I lean towards believing victims of crime. I lean very much in that way. And this is trying to figure out who's the victim of who. And Johnny Depp's testimony is much more consistent with what I've seen in my experience with victims of crime than hers. And it's sad.
Before we get the jury, I just want to see, talking with Sammy, is Friday, May 27th? It's not, we usually don't meet on Fridays, but is that an okay day to have
No,
trial
no.
on that Friday? It's the day,
No.
it's the Friday before Memorial Day.
I have to get on a
I
plane.
want to check with the jury, but I want to check with you first.
No.
That'll actually be closing argument day. For anybody that wants to
No.
know. Okay. So, right. So I just want to make sure that keeps it track. But if it's good with the jury, I just want to make sure that Friday is good with
That
them.
works for me, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ah!
Okay, sure.
Sidebar, Ms. Vasquez. So, Your Honor, perhaps the witness misspoke, but she did say that yesterday or the day before she looked at some photographs. I just wanted on the record that clear instruction is given to her, especially in light of the break that we're having, that she's not supposed to be talking to the attorney about her testimony. Perhaps she misspoke, but she did say she looked to the court. I assume she saw them before she was on. Ms. Bredehoft, she did. She misspoke, Ms. Vasquez. At the end of the day, I'll do that again, but I don't need her commenting on the evidence or evidentiary issues. That's the second time it's happened. Ms. Bredehoft, I realize that, Your Honor, but I can't talk to her. The court, I know you can't talk to her, but you can tell her not to talk about evidentiary issues. That's not her testimony. Ms. Bredehoft, okay. The court, don't you agree? Ms. Vasquez, yes, Your Honor, and that's why I wanted to raise the court. If you want to talk to her about that right now real quick or something, I just can't talk about things in front of the jury that we discuss outside the jury, and there's a reason we do things outside the jury's presence. Ms. Bredehoft, okay, I'll go tell her right now. Thanks, Your Honor. The court, okay, thank you. Back to open court. Woo.
Is it possible that she's laying the groundwork to go after Johnny Depp for sexual assault in California? No, because this was in Australia. She's still within the statute of limitations. She may be, but she could sue him civilly, perhaps. But this happened in Australia, so there's no jurisdiction in California for a crime. How is she even walking after that supposed essay? I don't know. And I think that's all things for the jury to ask.
No. You indicated that that Johnny had turned on your iPhone and recorded. Is that correct?
This is leading.
Yes.
Did there come a time that you discovered a recording on your iPhone from Australia?
Yes, much later, there was this 5-hour-long recording, and naturally, I didn't know what that could possibly be.
Naturally.
Because even though Johnny and I recorded each other often as part of our, struggles to figure out our relationship, this one was, 5 hours was unusual. And that's when I discovered that there had been this recording of the end of that Australia incident, if you will.
And did you listen to that recording?
I have heard it, yes.
And does it accurately represent what was depicted in that recording?
Are they going to bring this to
Objection,
evidence?
form, lack of foundation.
You want to approach? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Sidebar, the court. All right, Ms. Vasquez. The recording, Your Honor, is 5 hours long. She's not there for most of it, and it's other people's voices. In other words, it does everything wrong. The court. So I guess the question is, how can she say the whole thing was accurate if she wasn't there the whole time? Ms. Bredehoft, I'm trying to indicate that she is the court. Are we going to move it in? Ms. Bredehoft, don't we already have parts of it in? Ms. Vasquez, we do not, because there's other voices. The court, well, let's do that now. Are you moving it in? Ms. Bredhoft, yes, I'm moving in parts of defendants 378. The court, what are the parts you're moving in? You're not moving in all 5 hours to this jury, are you? Ms. Bredhoft, no. The court, but the parts you have, are they just, Ms. Bredhoft, there are other people. There are absolutely other people. I don't understand. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't. Okay, must keep reading. Must keep going. Must carry on. Miss Bredhoft. Miss Bredhoft, there are other people. There are absolutely other people. I don't understand why that wouldn't be admissible. The court, hearsay. Oh my God. Miss Bredhoft, if I'm understanding, it's not hearsay to see videos. The court, no, videos aren't statements. Videos are pictures. It's like if there's an alien that came from another planet where they'd never had pictures or videos. They had no idea what a recording was or any of that. And they land on planet Earth and right in front of Judge A. Judge A is trying to explain to them the difference between a video and a picture. Haven't even gotten to hearsay. Just the difference between a video and a picture and how explaining it and in a way that, would be easy enough for an alien to understand. And maybe that explains a lot. Maybe ELAAAINE is not from this planet. Miss Bredhoft, if I'm understanding, it's not hearsay to see videos. The court, no, videos aren't statements. Videos are pictures. Miss Bredhoft, but recordings aren't statements here. Court, if there's hearsay inside recordings, it's hearsay. Miss Bredhoft, all right, well then I'm moving to admit them. And the court, moving to. Miss Bredhoft, I'm moving to admit the recording that I guess Your Honor is going to deny, but Miss Vasquez, objection, hearsay. The court, the objection's hearsay. I'm going to sustain the objection. Miss Bredhoft, can you tell me the number of that exhibit number so I can? Miss Bredhoft, 378. The court, thank you. Back to open court.
I'm wondering, because there was issues with this recording coming up earlier. So I'm wondering how we're getting into this.
You testified that
your subscriptions
you
would
made
help.
arrangements to return home. Can you describe, let's take you to the point you left
like
the
there's no way
Australia
you're recording
house,
for 5 hours.
to
right?
go to the airport and were accompanied by
Oh,
Ben
she moved right
King.
on.
Could you tell the jury what transpired during that period of time?
At least it's kind of open-ended.
I left Australia shortly after that.
When did you go to the
My
doctor?
understanding was Johnny was in the hospital for his finger.
Do you, when Mr. Depp was, what you testified on what Mr. Depp said to you on the phone ride, were you on the phone with anyone else
On
or
the
was it
phone
just
ride?
Mr. Depp? you were
Her
on the
questions
phone
are confusing too.
I only remember speaking to Johnny, and I remember
think so
sitting
in
in
this
the
court.
backseat of the SUV that had driven
Not in this court, the
me,
way it's laid out.
and we were outside of the entrance where you walk into the airport, and I even then felt
Pain in your feet?
torn about leaving. I obviously didn't want to stay, but I was in such shock and
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
I would have let her go.
I don't know how that's
We're
non-responsive.
going to ask your question again.
Okay.
She asked about Johnny Depp.
Please tell us how you felt at that point and
can if it's needed.
what Mr. Depp was saying.
I don't know if Ben King's needed at this point.
I remember.
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
She was
Camille.
in the middle of responding to it, Your Honor, and Your Honor said it.
That's a different question, but I'll sustain that objection if you want to ask.
Okay.
And so he went to Sweetser upon landing, and
Oh, this is when he got back.
there was some conversations with the medical team, doctors and stuff, and I just remember feeling
Did you see a doctor?
concerned for his life because things had changed, and without saying what they said to me,
Were you concerned for
Objection,
your
Your Honor,
life?
hearsay.
She said without saying.
She's characterizing it.
She is characterizing
I'll
it.
overrule for now.
That's very
So we'll
fair.
go.
But did you seek medical help?
Really, really worried that
I don't doubt she was worried about him.
not going to live through this, that there would be infections or problems and things, and he wouldn't
And there
stop
were.
using Coke, and he couldn't get the surgery he needed because he wouldn't stop using Coke, and they wouldn't put him under because of all the Coke. So
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
All right, I'll
Lack of
sustain as the
foundation.
last part.
Okay.
All right, next
They
question.
wouldn't put him under
So-
because of all the Coke.
And I jumped up and I shouted at Johnny, like, what are you doing? Or Johnny, spill on me again, something to that effect. And I get up, get up off the couch, and
I put the photos
Johnny's
up on
son
Twitter, so
says-
if they do, I'll take a
Objection,
look
Your
at
Honor,
them.
hearsay.
Your Honor, not offered to prove the truth of the matter. It explains
Don't-
what's coming.
Give you a good approach. I just don't know.
It explains what's coming. So she let the jury know. It explains what's coming.
Sidebar. The court. I just don't know what the statement is, so I can't say if it's for the truth or not of what did his son say, Miss Bradhoft. His son's going to say, quote, do you need any help, unquote, and she's going to say, she looked pointedly at Johnny and said, quote, no, thank you, Jack, end quote. And then she went in to change, and that's when he came after her, so it fits that she said, quote, no, thank you, end quote. The court. So you're saying hearsay? Ms. Vasquez, hearsay. The court. Why are you saying it's not, Miss Bradhoft? If it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter, what she said, the fact that he said, quote, do you need some help, end quote, it's not offered to prove the truth that he wanted to help her. The court. What's it offered for, Miss Bradhoft? It's to show the chain that she says, quote, no thank you, end quote, and she looks at Johnny. And that's what sets him off, and then he beats her up. The court. Well, then it's for the truth of the matter, Miss Bradhoft. Well, but it's not, because Jack is just saying, quote, do you need some help, end quote. I'm so confused. The court. All right, I'll overrule the objection. Miss Vasquez. Okay, thank you. Open court.
We've had less hearsay objections this afternoon. The judge has a very broad definition. So sometimes even if it is truly not offered for the matter or not offered for the truth of the matter to explain context or state of mind, the judge is not overruling those objections based on hearsay exceptions. And that's been completely consistent this whole trial.
Amber, please continue. Jack said.
And that's
Says,
fair.
Are you okay, or can I help?
Are we done for the day, Your Honor? Your Honor?
Is
Your
that
Honor?
the end of?
Yeah, this is a good breaking point. Yes.
All right.
Is that
Okay,
the end of
ladies
this? The judge is
Gentlemen,
like,
you just
are
did it
we
for a moment.
are we
All right,
done?
ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be breaking again. This is the time that we break for a week. Okay, so I won't be seeing you until May 16th.
To
Okay,
get
ma'am,
this
since you're
done.
still in the middle of your testimony, you can't discuss your testimony with anybody to include your attorneys. Okay, you can step down though and have a seat with your attorneys. I have a few housekeeping matters I want to take care of.
Oh.
I won't see you tomorrow for Friday depositions because we finished all the depositions. I want to thank
Oh,
all of
good.
you for last Friday and staying here until I think it was 9:00 at night.
What?
But we got them all done, and I really appreciate all your work on that. Since I won't see you tomorrow, I wanted to go ahead and give you your times as of this very minute of what you have used and what you
Yes.
have left.
Oh,
Okay?
yes. Timing.
Are you ready?
Yes. I'm ready.
Okay, Mr. Chu's going to try to use it with a highlighter. Let's wait.
That's
There
why
we
we're
go.
here.
There we go. That's right. Okay. There we go. All right.
Judge is very
So
patient.
plaintiff has used 35 hours and 6 minutes. Defendants have used 36 hours and 31 minutes, which means the plaintiff has 26 hours and 9 minutes left, and the defendant has 24 hours and 44 minutes left. If you
Annoyed.
add 36 hours and 31 minutes and 24 hours and
Uh-oh.
44 minutes.
Lawyers doing math. Lawyers doing
you
math. Lawyers doing math.
You get what?
This is very
Well,
helpful
you can give us Sammy
information.
when we're done, okay?
This is kind of the inside baseball
It's-
of court.
Is it right or wrong? What's that? 61 hours and 15 minutes. Does that add up then? That is right. Mr. Ronenberg says I'm right.
Mr.
Okay.
Rodenborn
So
says
that's the
that
right
I'm
time.
right.
Sammy did it 3 times over, so I thought that was right. You made him very nervous.
Don't offend
Okay,
the
so
court
that's
clerk.
good. Everything else? Anything else? Yes,
Your
ma'am.
Honor, we do have our updated exhibit
Okay.
page that you requested
Oh,
from
perfect. All right.
plaintiff. May
All
I
right.
approach?
That's fine.
This is
I think
such
that's
helpful
something we need.
information.
Okay. All right, we'll get that. All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
We're good? All right, we'll see you Monday, May 16th, 9 a.m., right? All right, thank you.
Today has been one of the most bizarre things I have ever seen.
All right, so here we are with day 17. I believe we have just come back from that extended breaky dindle thing.
They are rising for the judge. And here we go.
It's the bailiff. All rise. Please be seated and come to order. The court. All right. Good morning, Mr. Chu. Good morning, Your Honor. The court. All right. Do we have any preliminary matters before the jury comes out?
All right.
Everybody
Do we
was
have any
getting
preliminary matters
spiffy.
before the jury comes out?
Preliminary matters.
Ms. Bredhoft. A couple, Your Honor, on our end. The court. Sure.
Sure.
Oh, we do have preliminary matters. Evidence generally is what will come up at sidebar.
Sidebar. The court. What do we got? Good morning, Ms. Vasquez. Good morning, Ms. Bredhoft. So the first one is we owe an exhibit. The court. Okay. Which exhibit is it, Ms. Bredhoft? This is 188A. The court. 188A, and that is already in evidence, Ms. Bredhoft. Yes, Your Honor. It needed some redactions. The court. Okay. Are they the redactions for 188A? Okay, got it. Mr. Rottenborn. The next thing, Your Honor, we have a brief that we just filed under seal this morning. Oh, the court. Okay, Mr. Rottenborn. To keep the identities of the jurors sealed for 1 year following the verdict for the court. Okay, do you have any objection to that? Mr. Chu. I don't think so, the court. I think that would be fine. Actually, I think they would feel comfortable to do that. Mr. Rottenborn. Okay, that's what we thought. The court. All right, I'll grant that motion unless there's any issue with it. You want to read it first, Mr. Chu? If we could, Your Honor. Court. Take a look. I put it to the side. Maybe in the afternoon I'll sign it, okay? Mr. Rottenborn. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Chu. Your Honor, we have two very brief ones. The court. Okay, sure. Mr. Chu. One relates to the article that dealt with a piece of evidence that Your Honor had excluded because it was submitted late. The court. Okay. Mr. Chu. So clearly the result of the bench conference who leaked to their PR person who quoted it in an article, who sent an article to Lockhart, so you probably haven't had a chance to see it, but it's been leaked, and the court. You don't know who leaked it, though? Mr. Chu, we don't know who leaked it. Ms. Vasquez. It was transferred as a photograph, Your Honor, the court, right? Ms. Vasquez, that you, the court. Okay. Ms. Bredhoft. We believe it was planted by Mr. Depp's side, didn't we? Oh my God, I'm having deja vu again. Like, no, that was a different day, because that was when she said it was a flash flood of, right, the criticisms about Dr. Hughes, and she said the same thing. Wow, incredible. Ms. Bredhoft, we believe it was planted by Mr. Depp's side. We think Mr. Waldman leaked it or modified it this past weekend. We can look at this is important. This is the photo that they say we released. So if you can see there, Your Honor, somebody in this courtroom took a picture of the court. Yeah, I think that's from court TV, unfortunately. Ms. Vasquez, that's the photograph, Your Honor. Ms. Bredhoft, the photograph is the one. The court, yeah, unfortunately, that's from court TV. So, yeah, it looks like it wasn't planted by Mr. Depp's side. Mr. Chu, the photograph was one Your Honor excluded. We obviously wouldn't leak something. This is the split lip she had. The court, well, the jury's not supposed to be looking at anything. I really don't know who's doing anything. Mr. Chu, no, we understand. We would hope that there would be some kind of, the court, well, I can tell you that I wasn't thrilled that both of them made public statements either. I was not thrilled about that at all. So that's both sides. So that, I do know, came from their source. So I would appreciate if we don't do any more public statements in the middle of a trial. Correct. Both sides? Ms. Bredhoft, right, that was PR. The court, well, that still should be, Mr. Chu, understood, Your Honor. Ms. Bredhoft, understood, Your Honor. The court, okay, Mr. Chu, we understand that. The final matter is, Your Honor, has heard, oh, right, okay. The final matter is, Your Honor has heard about the, quote, hasta la muerte, end quote, knife. The court, the knife, yes. Mr. Chu, we would like to bring it into the courtroom. We know obviously we need Your Honor's approval to do that. The court, okay, for Mr. Chu, just to show. The court, this is for closing or is it going to be in evidence? Mr. Chu, just for cross, just to show the court the cross. Mr. Chu, because she's now saying that these alleged abuses occurred earlier than, she's changing the story, but the point is it's all the more probative to show the jury how unlikely it would be that she were actually getting beat to have this knife. The court, all right, so you won't put it into evidence, you want to bring it, but you want to bring it in for a demonstrative. Mr. Chu, we just want to bring it in, but we wanted Your Honor's approval. The court, any objection? Ms. Bredhoft, that's fine. The court, let the deputies know. Mr. Chu, we just wanted to ask you first. How considerate. Ms. Bredhoft, one more thing, Your Honor, it's about the transcript. I looked at the argument on the motion to strike and the response to the motion to strike, and Mr. Chu called Amber Heard a serial abuser and that she not only abused Mr. Depp, but others as well. which is in violation of a motion in limine. There's no evidence that's come out on that. The court, although I was just thinking, I was like, she said the motion to strike, so the jury wasn't there. Keep reading, Chelsea. The court, although the jury wasn't here. Ms. Bredoff, no. Court, okay. Ms. Bredoff, my point is that he did say that, and it's not in evidence yet. I'm going to get the final text because I didn't have it. I didn't want to interrupt, Your Honor, but I do want to make sure that we don't have that happening in closings, for example. Mr. Chu, I don't remember whether I said that or not. Court, I don't know, but the jury wasn't here. Mr. Chu, if that was said, Ms. Bredoff, correct, the jury was not here. He called her a serial abuser to Mr. Depp and others. Ms. Vasquez, Your Honor, respectfully, there was evidence already. Dr. Curry testified that she hadn't reviewed her transcript, and Rocky Pennington testified that Amber had struck her too, so that is in evidence. Ms. Bredoff, oh my God, Ms. Bredoff, that's not abusive. And I see, my mind's automatically thinking, her and Dr. Hughes are two peas in a pod, right? Because it's like, Dr. Hughes would probably say it's minor abuse. I think that's the way she termed that was, it's minor abuse, not major abuse. And then you got Elaine taking it one step further. It's just not even abuse. So there you go. So Ms. Bredoff, that's not abusive. Mr. Chu, sure, it is. The court, right, it doesn't matter. It's a non sequitur, actually. Mr. Chu, violence against women, it certainly is. Oh, I see. That was a bit of snark there. I like that, Mr. Chu. Because they're talking about her hitting Rocky Pennington, and then I'm sure it's implied also about Tasa comes up later. The court. All right, let's go. Thank you. Welcome back. Mr. Chu, thank you, Your Honor. Open court.
So the jury is going to be coming in, and we are going to resume with direct examination.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being so punctual this morning. I appreciate it for the early start.
So all the jurors are here on time.
All right. Just a reminder, Ms. Hurt, you're still under oath, okay? All right. Next question.
That means
Thank you, Your Honor. Amber, when did the first act of physical violence by Mr. Depp occur?
Objection asked and answered. They're trying to get a timeline, though.
She hasn't even answered it, Your Honor.
All right. I'll allow the answer.
This is asked and answered. They got into it 2 days ago.
Objection,
All right.
hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Your Honor, but it's not offered to prove the truth
It
of the
is.
matter asserted. It's explaining what she looked at.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay.
We're coming in hot this morning.
When did you earlier believe the first act of physical violence occurred?
Oh, she got the dates wrong. They're trying to fix it.
Well, I had always believed up until recently that it had started later, that the violence started around early 2013, not early 2012.
Now, you testified earlier that the first act of physical violence by Mr. Depp related to the Winona Wino tattoo. Do you recall that testimony?
That's not exactly what
I do.
she said.
Okay. Is that,
Ooh, we're going to get
does
leading.
that change your testimony realizing that this is earlier?
Oh.
Was this in fact still the first act?
Objection,
Yes,
leading.
it is leading. It is leading as fuck,
Sustained.
Elaine. It is leading.
What was the
AF.
first act?
Objection, asked and answered.
Exactly. Ooh, get it, Camille. Today's going to be fucking spicy, y'all.
How do you remember?
Drop some spice in the
first
chat.
act
They're
of
trying to
violence?
fix testimony.
Well, you never forget it. That's how I remember it. It changes your life forever.
That wasn't the
You
answer.
never forget the first time someone hits you like that.
You forgot the date, though.
I just had the date wrong.
They're trying to fix
And-
the dates.
How is it that you think you got the date wrong?
Calls for
Objection, calls for
speculation.
speculation.
Overruled.
She's allowed to be speculative in this, but I knew that was coming.
I'm embarrassed to say I think I would have liked to have believed that the period of time in which I had to fall in love with Johnny, in which we fell in love and he was sober and he wasn't violent to me, lasted for a lot longer than it did.
Right now, they are fixing
Now, what if any
testimony.
discussions did you have with
'Cause
Mr.
they've had a week
Depp
to look over it.
about threatening to divorce each other or threatening to leave?
Objection calls for hearsay to
I'm
the extent it
asking for-
calls for Ms. Heard's statements.
I'm asking for discussions with Mr. Depp.
It's
But-
still her.
Just tell
It's-
us what Mr. Depp said. Don't tell us what you said.
Oh my God, Elaine.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Yes. What did Mr. Depp say in your discussions about the use of the term threatening to divorce or threatening to leave each other?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Well,
The judge wants
Johnny
to get through
would
this
always
too.
say, The only way out of this was death. But in fights, in particularly heated ones, we had found, we were using divorce in the fight, in some of our heated fights.
I'm going to keep you in July of 2015. And Michelle, I'm going to ask you to bring up Depp Exhibit 390A. It's a recording.
You're welcome, Tanya.
And I'm going to be asking about from 3:30 to 4:12. I'm going to move the admission, Your Honor. It's another recording between Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard. There's nobody else in
It's
there.
plaintiffs, what number was it?
It's plaintiffs, it's 390A.
Okay. Any objection to 390A?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay.
May we approach?
Okay.
Let's approach.
Sidebar. It's another sidebar. Ms. Vasquez, Your Honor, I have an objection to defense counsel using plaintiff's exhibits. The court, that's fair game. Ms. Vasquez, indirect examination. The court, that's fair game. Ms. Vasquez, okay, thank you. Back to open court.
What, if anything, did you observe about Mr. Depp's state?
He was hallucinating, auditory.
Objection calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
It does.
Please tell the jury exactly what he was doing that led you to believe he was hallucinating.
Objection leading.
That calls for
What,
medical
if anything,
conclusion.
was Mr. Depp doing that would have led you to
spicy.
believe he was hallucinating?
Same objection.
Sustained.
The
Sustained.
judge
What?
is so
Please
annoyed.
describe what Mr. Depp was saying in January of 2000.
Do you hear the court saying sustained, sustained?
He was talking to people who weren't there, meaning people who were not in the room. He was communicating with people and sounds and voices that weren't there. I know because I was sometimes in the room and sometimes on the phone with him. He hallucinated right in front of me. And
This is
Objection calls for
non-responsive.
speculation.
Don't use the word hallucinate. Just describe
Oh my
what led you to
God.
believe.
Your Honor.
Your
objection.
Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. She can testify to what she observed.
Please, thank you, Your Honor. Please tell the jury what you
Your Honor,
observed.
may we approach?
Yes, please. Because she's not only leading the witness, but she is now on the stand telling a witness what to say, which is so inappropriate.
Sidebar. Ms. Vasquez, she's coaching the witness and she's testifying. It is so inappropriate. Ms. Bredhoff, she's allowed to do, she described. The court, what she observed. She's talking about your questions. Ms. Bredhoff, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. The court, yeah, just your questions are leading, leading to the answers. I mean, just what she observed, what she saw. Ms. Bredhoff, that's fine. The court, okay, thank you, Ms. Vasquez. Thank you, Your Honor. Back to open court.
But it's absolutely appalling to see. So, with this,
Please tell the jury what you observed.
Camille did a good job saying, can we just go to sidebar?
I observed behavior from him that was erratic,
Very
rational,
unprofessional.
and didn't seem
Questioning.
connected to the reality that we were in.
This might be a good breaking point.
All right, that's fine. Okay, ladies, let's go ahead and take our morning recess. Do not discuss the case.
All
with
right, I'm going to be
anybody
getting
and
some
don't do the outside
questions as
research.
we're
We'll take
getting to
15 minutes,
morning
okay?
recess.
So they're going to take their morning recess. Again, that's nice and brief. They really kept the jury here on a tight schedule. The bailiff, all rise. Please be seated and come to order. The court, all right. Are we ready for the jury? Ms. Bredhoff, yes, Your Honor. Mr. Chu, Your Honor. Could we come up? The court, sure. Sidebar. Mr. Chu. Two things. One, that's funny because it was two things in the morning as well. Morning housekeeping. Two things. One, they've issued another statement. We'd ask them to, wow, really? They just had a chat about this. We'd ask them to withdraw the statement. Ms. Bredhoff, I'm not aware of any statements, Your Honor. Mr. Needlehoff, I have no idea what they're talking about. Mr. Chu, another press statement since your order. That is incredible. Ms. Bredhoff, I am unaware. Ms. Vasquez, it's in People magazine. The court, just now? Mr. Chu, yeah. Ms. Bredhoff, I have been physically at the podium, Your Honor, since you talked to me. Mr. Needlehoff, I have no idea what he's talking about. Ms. Vasquez, well, the first thing I did when you admonished us, I contacted our PR. The court, has anyone contacted the PR to tell them that they can't? Ms. Vasquez, yeah, but they retracted. Mr. Needlehoff, I think we did. The court, this morning, right? Right, because I'm just saying this makes sense because they had this chat and they were supposed to do something about it. Oh no, we went too far. Okay, this morning, right? Mr. Needlehoff, did you contact PR and tell them? Oh my God. So she was supposed to and she didn't, is what it sounds like. Ms. Bredhoff, not to issue any statements? Yeah, see, she didn't do it. Oh my God. Mr. Needlehoff, this morning? Ms. Bredhoff, yeah. The court, this morning, right? I don't know, because she just said she... She just gave an alibi, right? She was at the podium the whole time. I don't know. The court this morning, right? Mr. Rottenborn, right after, there were statements that were issued from, I understand both sides, before Your Honor ruled. Yeah, correct. He's right about that. The court, right, I understand. Mr. Niederhoff. And I told him, and he's not done anything since then. Yeah, there's been no statement. Ms. Vasquez, there's a statement, Your Honor. I can read it to you. Mr. Niederhoff. I mean, it may have been that came out after your ruling, but the statement was made, whatever was said, and I don't even know what it was. It would have been before you said it. I mean, that makes sense to me. I can show you the email for it. That makes sense, though. Mr. Chu, we would ask that the statement be retracted since it's after Your Honors. Ms. Bredoff, how can you retract a statement? Mr. Niederhoff, what's that? The court, can you retract the statement? Mr. Niederhoff, I can let him know. I can ask him, sure. Mr. Chu, also, we had a motion on for prior acts of violence. The court, okay. Mr. Chu, before the cross. Ms. Vasquez, before the cross. Mr. Chu, we wanted to give you an opportunity to review it before the cross. The court, all right, I'll review it. Ms. Vasquez, all right, thank you, Your Honor. The court, he was just asked to go out so he could contact him. Ms. Vasquez, yes. Mr. Chu, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Vasquez, Your Honor, if we could have an instruction to the witness, she's not to characterize, right, quote, so I told my therapist, end quote, or, quote, I told my friend, but I can't tell you what I told them, end quote. That's inappropriate. She's characterizing hearsay, and it's complete contradiction of, Ms. Bredoff, I agree, she's not allowed to say, quote, hearsay, end quote, but she can tell things. You're missing the point, Elaine. But she can tell things and then say what she did as a result, and that's perfectly appropriate. Ms. Vasquez, the problem that I have is she's literally looking at the jury saying, quote, well, I can't tell you what I told my therapist, but let me tell you, end quote. Ms. Bredoff, she's able to do. Your Honor has ruled that she can. The court, I know that she can, but just to testify, not to characterize things. That's all. Ms. Bredoff, I think she's doing her best, but I can't discuss her testimony with her, so, oh my God. Mr. Chu, she knows exactly what she's doing. The court, do you want to tell her really quickly she's not to characterize just what she observed and what she saw? And it's like, do this now, and so you're not coaching her in front of the jury, please. Ms. Bredoff, well, I think she's trying to do that. I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to tell her. You know, I think, Mr. Chu, she keeps saying, she said it 4 or 5 times. She's saying to the jury, quote, well, I can't tell you, but this is what I understand, end quote. The court, well, if it happens again, I'll have to admonish her myself. Miss Bredoff, all right, I'll be fine. What the heck? What is happening? What? The court, okay, thank you. Mr. Chu, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Vasquez, thank you. Back to the court.
She went and just talked to Amber.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And she is, and that's outside of the presence of the jury. What is going on with her? What is going on with your face?
I called my friend thinking that it would quell this, what I could only see as a delusion. I thought it was just a delusion he was having. And I thought, oh, I'll hopefully, quell this by calling my friend to if he hears my friend say that didn't happen.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
It is.
It's not offered to prove the truth of it. Thank you. Please continue.
So I thought if I could get my friend on the phone to prove that this didn't happen, we could move on and talk about the issues that we should be talking about. We had, our marriage was over and falling apart in front of our eyes. We hadn't seen each other for a month, and his mom had just passed. I couldn't believe he wanted to talk about feces. So I call this friend thinking that we'll take care of it. The friend doesn't answer.
That's a good point.
I call another friend who is someone else he claimed. I don't know how both people did this, but he was claiming that this person was responsible. So I called that person. And that person is on speakerphone. And I
Tell
say,
us who that person is.
Io.
Io, tell it right?
Io, tell it right.
Okay. And then you put him on speakerphone with Johnny.
Right in front of Johnny.
Okay. And what happened next?
I allowed for an opportunity for Io to say why this is impossible.
Objection, hearsay.
It's not offered to prove the truth of the matter, is asserted,
Then
Your Honor.
why
It's
is it
explaining
relevant?
The context that leads to the next acts.
Then why is it relevant?
It is being offered
We're
to
not
prove
here. We're not here
no,
about whether Io.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Oh
Sorry.
my. Umbridge is yelling at the court.
All right. So Io is talking. You can't tell us what he said. Okay.
Objection,
he's
Your
talking,
Honor.
Correct?
May we approach?
Okay.
That's appropriate. Ooh. Did you hear that? It sounded like Umbridge pushed the mic out of the way.
Sidebar, the court. Yes, ma'am. Miss Vasquez. Now Miss Bredoff is doing what we just... The court. That was an instruction. I don't have a problem with that. That's fine, okay? Miss Vasquez. Thanks, Your Honor. Back to open court.
But
So
they are approaching because
I was
Umbridge is
talking.
getting...
We can't say what he said. What is the next thing that happens on your end with Mr. Depp?
This has been a problem this whole trial.
It just made Johnny madder. He got more upset, grabbed the phone, and started screaming at Io. He just started screaming at the top of his lungs, said, "You dyke bitch, you don't know what you're talking," just screaming expletives. Io said something to me on speakerphone, and reminded me I wasn't safe.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Your Honor, it's not offered to prove the truth of the matter. It's to show what caused Mr. Depp to be set off and come back. I mean, it's not offered
Now
to
she's
prove
testifying.
the truth of what he's saying. It's not hearsay. In that
I'll overrule the
nature.
objection. Go ahead.
Thank you. Please tell us what Io said and what then happened with Mr. Depp.
They're using it to
Io said,
explain
"Amber,
the context.
get out of the house. Get out of the house now. You're not safe." Get
Io's the
out
one who
of
called the
house."
police. So they're trying to lead up to the calling of the police.
I had been there after the cleanup or for the cleanup after December 15th, 2015 incident. And had
Objection,
washed
Your Honor,
blood out of my
non-responsive.
pillowcases.
All right.
I think she can provide the
I'll
context.
sustain the objection. Next
Okay.
question.
Move
So
on.
please continue.
No,
Johnny
the objection
hears this.
sustained. You don't
When he's on
continue.
the
You move
stairs,
on.
He made it up one flight of stairs.
This
Heard
today
this,
is just a
turned
shit
around,
show. I'm
came bolting
tired.
down the stairs, grabbed the phone from my hand,
This is
and
leading up to the
really-
police being called.
really started screaming this time, led into Io, called Io every imaginable horrible name that you can say to a LGBTQIA person for one, and any person, any human being ever. I mean, just screamed at Io, some really nasty stuff. And when he was done, he says, you want to have my woman now. You want to have my bitch. You can have, you take her, you can have her. And he, with that, picks up, just pulls his arm back with the phone and throws it at my face.
This is the phone throwing
Hit me
before the
Right
TRO.
in it felt like my eye.
Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of defendant 706.
No objection.
706 in evidence and published.
And
Yep.
I also
there
see
is.
that there is a little, what we call metadata item on there. How
No.
do you get that on a picture? How does that
Objection.
happen? Can you
It
just
calls for
describe briefly?
speculation out.
Objection, Your Honor.
Calls for
That's
expert testimony.
speculation, lack of
If you
foundation.
want to approach.
Yeah.
That calls for expert testimony.
Sidebar. Miss Vasquez. Lack of foundation, speculation, and hearsay. Miss Bredoff. It's not a lack of foundation. I'm asking her how that gets on, how they put it on there. They put it on there at the time they took the picture. The court. She's not here as an expert. She's just here, Miss Bredoff. Right, it doesn't require expert testimony. This is on the next series of photos, Your Honor, and it's on there because they put it on there as the picture was being taken. You have it on your iPhone. Everybody has it on their iPhone. They can press that button, and that's part of it. It's not an extra feature. Miss Vasquez. But that's inaccurate. So the picture is taken. Obviously, it's taken without that. After the fact, what you can do is put on just a little icon just to show when the picture was taken. That can be manipulated, of course, Your Honor, and what I suspect that they did was take a screenshot of her phone, of a phone, her iPad, that has the information bar on top of the picture. Ms. Bredoff, she can testify to what she did, and they can have an expert witness in their case. Ms. Vasquez, that's hearsay, Your Honor. Ms. Bredoff, this is on the pictures, Your Honor. Ms. Vasquez, no, the court. She can testify as to how she put it on the pictures is fine. You can cross-examine on it, but we're not going to get into what metadata is or any of that. Ms. Bredoff, I wasn't going to. I was just trying to explain how it got on there. Ms. Vasquez, okay, thank you, Your Honor. Court, okay. Court.
But it's also opening the door to get
Can
into
you please explain how this
what's not been turned over.
item on here got onto the pictures?
It's a
Interesting.
feature that was on iPhotos, you know, where your pictures are stored on your phone. Typically, you just push info.
And was that pushed in these instances?
I pushed info, and that's what came up.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of defendants 708.
Any objection to 708?
Your Honor, I would just ask the picture be redacted on hearsay grounds.
Your Honor,
For the metadata.
It is
Alleged
hearsay.
metadata.
Okay.
Wait, they're approaching again. Oh, so Camille's outfit's really cute today.
Sidebar. Ms. Bredoff. Metadata is not hearsay, Your Honor. It's not hearsay. It's not an out-of-court statement. It's just like a photo. It's just like a video. That's part, Ms. Vasquez. No, that's the DNA, Ms. Bredoff. It's not an out-of-court statement. It's not by acoustic. What the hell? Court. Okay, yes, ma'am, Ms. Vasquez. It's the DNA of the photograph, batch DNA, which can be manipulated. It is text and it is hearsay. Ms. Bredoff. It's not an article or statement, and we have expert witnesses, Your Honor. Ms. Vasquez, that can testify to it. The court, they can testify to it. Until we have an expert witness, I'll sustain the objection. All right, Ms. Bredoff. All right. Back to open court.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I would also like the
They
record
don't
to
seem to
reflect
understand.
that we're publishing this to the jury.
Yes, no objection, correct?
Okay.
Yes.
Now the jury
There you
knows
go.
though that they've redacted
Okay.
out
I
information.
would like the record to reflect that this was the photo that was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon.
Objection,
No,
Your Honor.
objection.
That is.
She-
Your Honor,
she's
we
testifying.
couldn't
That
put him in
misstates the
because
evidence.
Hadn't identified him. Now the jury should be entitled to know which photo
Your Honor,
was
we
shown.
ask that we approach.
Okay, we can approve.
She's now testifying. Umbridge is now testifying in court. That is appalling. We would like the record to reflect that is appalling. Come on, Umbridge. That's just gross.
Sidebar. Ms. Vasquez. Your Honor, the court, I believe it is in the record. That's the one we didn't get in with the deposition because, Ms. Bredoff, they hadn't been identified yet. The court, because they hadn't been identified yet. So they were the ones used in the deposition. Ms. Bredoff, yes, and I've got them linked up exactly to the exhibit numbers. The court, all out, okay? Ms. Vasquez, thank you, Your Honor. The court, okay? And back to open court. Back to open court.
That A should be stricken, but now she's speaking over the objection in court. At this point, the court should be admonishing her, but you know, it's wild.
So
This
for
is
the
wild.
record, this particular photo was shown to Officer Sines and Officer Haddon as Exhibit 24 in both of
In
the
the deposition.
depositions that were shown earlier where the pictures were not allowed to be shown yet because they hadn't been admitted.
I assume they'll be back there after lunch too when this resumes. Amber Heard's in her position on the stand. The jury has not come in yet.
Sidebar. Ms. Bredoff, that's all the audios from this morning. The court, thank you, Ms. Bredoff. And this is the redacted. The court, all right. Which? 773 redacted? Ms. Bredoff, 772. The court, 773, 772, okay. Ms. Bredoff, and Your Honor, denying that the metadata on the photos does not constitute hearsay. The court, it wasn't hearsay. Foundation was the main issue. Ms. Bredoff, I didn't have the opportunity to ask her. The court, no. But the foundation, we're going to get through the expert. That's what was said. Okay? All right. Ms. Bredoff, yes. Mr. Rottenborn, this is just an agreed order from the motion about the jurors. All right, the jurors' identifiers. It's not an agreed order, but it's an order signed, Mr. Chu. And we agree, but haven't seen the brief. We just object to some of the characterizations about Mr. Depp. The court, well, I understand that, Mr. Chu, but we agree to the ruling. The court, do you have any objection to me telling them during jury instruction? Mr. Chu, not at all. Mr. Rottenborn, and that was specifically in our brief. We think those should be done prior to deliberations. The court, I was just going to make it part of my incorporating jury instructions. Mr. Chu, we have no objection to the release. It just took a couple of pot shots. The court, that's fine. It's under seal. That's good. All right. Anything else? Are we ready for the jury? Ms. Bredoff, yes, Your Honor. Whereupon the jury entered the courtroom and the following proceedings took place.
Lunch was very fast.
Hey, we're ready for the jury.
I inappropriately leaned into one of my favorite lunch foods from when I was a DA, Cheetos. Cheetos are a terrible plan.
What are you talking about there, Amber?
That even though Johnny told me that his guards would say whatever he needed them to say, that they were the same guards who had told me that I would lose my life
Objection, Your
this
Honor.
way.
Hearsay.
All right, sustained objection.
And
Into
move
the
to strike.
text, So that's all right. We're fine.
We're fine.
Michelle,
Your
just
Honor.
go to- I'm sorry.
Oh shit! The judge must be admonishing Elaine, which is wild because Elaine said we're fine, and then Camille said, Your Honor, and then she must have said, can we approach?
Sidebar. The court. You cannot keep commenting on the evidence. Ms. Brodhoff, I'm sorry. The court, please do not do that again. It comes in. When it comes in, do not talk to the jury about it. Ms. Brodhoff, okay. The court, okay. Ms. Vasquez, thank you, Your Honor. Open court.
Elaine is editorializing, and I imagine she just got admonished
Exhibit 357G
about it because she's saying we're fine. This.
26.
Very flippant.
Why did you agree to accept $7 million as your settlement?
I didn't care about the money. I was told if I didn't agree to a number, that it could be overturned. That this would never actually, it would never get completed. It would never settle.
Objection,
and then it would be
hearsay.
overturned.
That goes against
What
your
was your
officer's testimony.
What was your understanding?
That if I didn't agree to a number, it would be overturned. So I took far less than what they were offering and what I was entitled to.
Oh,
And why did you donate it to charity?
oh.
I promised the entirety of it to charity because I was never interested in Johnny's money. And in the divorce, I just wanted my safety. I wanted to move on from my life. I wanted my future. And then he started compromising that, calling me a liar, making it impossible for me to move on by doing so. So then I wanted the truth. I wanted him to clear my name and to leave me alone.
They're saying she donated it
2016.
still?
So why did you donate 3.5 to Children's Hospital and 3.5 to ACLU?
What?
Well, I pledged the first half, or 3.5, to Children's Hospital because I've been working there as a volunteer for well over a decade. I knew the facility well. I'd worked there with another nonprofit is how I got affiliated with them. And I knew they could use the resources. I was familiar with it.
And what about the ACLU?
And then ACLU because I was a supporter, because I believed in the work that we're doing. I believed that they were doing good work for people who deserved it.
Wow.
Why
They are
did you
really
make the
acting like she made these
over
donations.
a period of time as opposed to just a lump sum?
Two reasons. The short of it is because I was receiving the settlement in installments. I was receiving the installments over time. Second of all, so I could get the tax benefit of paying overtime. You know, it's my understanding that's how you pay these like large sums. You pay it over time.
Did you make any payments towards these donations?
I did.
Okay. Approximately how much?
Okay.
I allowed for
Wow.
the first installment, which is $100,000 to each. That came straight from Johnny in 2016. I followed up with $350,000 that year, 2016. 2018, I did another. Oh, and I also donated $250,000 to Art of Elysium, which is the affiliate I was just speaking about, that does the work in the Children's Hospital. It was not going to count towards my overall pledge, but I did that too. And then I did another donation to each in 2018.
Brittany, I don't know why they're not moving to strike.
And then Johnny sued me, 2019.
And then Johnny sued me.
Before we get to that, did anyone make donations
Yes,
to the
Hazel.
Children's Hospital?
That's exactly right.
or
She didn't
ACLU
donate
on your
it because of
behalf during
Johnny.
that time period?
Yes, Elon also, Elon, who was my boyfriend at the time, had his own charitable contributions that he made. He made $500,000 to both in my honor, in my name, in 2017, I believe.
And have you completely fulfilled your donations to the ACLU and the Children's Hospital?
I have not yet.
And why not?
Because
Johnny sued me for $50 million in March of 2019. And I have spent over $6 million.
Objection, Your Honor.
Oh,
Motion in limine.
That's
oh shit.
Once you come forward.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. They better move to strike that. That was a motion in limine. But she just dropped that she spent over $6 million fighting this case. Bitch, you were not allowed to say that on the stand. Oh, Camille is going to be pissed. honest.
Sidebar. Miss Bredehoff, that particular part was supposed to come in and nothing else. That was the ruling. Miss Vasquez, we moved it. It's filed from me, the court. I don't have it with me. Sorry, we had the investiture here. Okay, Miss Bredehoff, Your Honor, it's on page 9, the court, of the order. Miss Bredehoff, of the order, the court. Okay, you've got the order. Good. Miss Bredehoff, yeah, court. Page 9, now the order. Miss Vasquez, page 9. Miss Bredehoff, this is it. There's 2 different orders, the court. This is the one I signed, right? Miss Bredehoff, right, this is signed by you on April 10th. The court, all right, on page 9. Miss Bredehoff, yeah, it says, quote, if Miss Heard opens the door as to who's paying her attorney's fees, Mr. Depp must first seek permission from the court outside of the jury for raising the issue on this, and Mr. Musk may be asked about his payment, if any, of attorney's fees. And the court may give appropriate instructions. What we said specifically at the hearing is what we were going to say, and she spent $6 million in attorney's fees. Court, we're not going to be able to. Miss Bredehoff, Your Honor, I can't hear you. Court, I'm sorry. Miss Bredehoff, what we said at the hearing is we were going to say that she spent $6 million on attorney's fees, and this is the rest. All the rest of this is not allowed. And the court, if you're going to say $6 million, then everything is allowed. Miss Bredehoff, well, the court, you've got to go by the hearing. That's not in the order. Miss Bredehoff, right, but I think then it says they open up the door so they can ask her who's paying. Miss Vasquez, we haven't even cross-examined her, Your Honor. The court, they haven't opened the door. Miss Bredehoff, but my understanding was that we... No. The question is whether we open the door on attorney's fees and then they ask certain questions. There's all kinds of tiers in here. What? There's all kinds of tiers in here, Your Honor. There's the insurance company, there's reference to attorneys, etc. There's all these things, but we specifically said we would be asking her that. I'll get the hearing transcript, Miss Vasquez. I did not hear that question, the court. And now they can ask her. They don't have to approach me now. They can ask her all about all the attorney's fees. Miss Bredehoff, that's fine. They can ask who's paying, the court. Who's paying? Insurance? Everything. Miss Vasquez, insurance and Elon Musk, the court. I mean, if you ask the question, that opens the door for them to ask her who's paying for all her attorney's fees. Miss Bredehoff, okay. The court, okay. Miss Bredehoff, thank you, Your Honor. Miss Vasquez, thank you, Your Honor. Court, okay. Back to the court.
This was a motion to eliminate. The judge is not going to be happy about this. Let's see if we get a pan out. Nope. I want to see what's happening in the motions and eliminate. Oh my God, the judge is going to the fucking binder. Oh, they're gonna be so mad. You can't elicit that testimony. When there's an objection, the witness is supposed to stop talking and wait for a ruling on the objection. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That should be stricken from the record.
So going back to that, then, could you afford to continue
Yes.
making payments?
All
to
jurors have to
ACLU and
agree.
Children's Hospital.
No.
Okay. What, if any, intention do you have to fulfill your pledges and donations to these organizations?
What is your
Still-
intent?
Fully intend to honor all of my pledges. I would love for him to stop suing me so I can.
What, if any, deadlines are there on your pledges and donations to the ACLU or the Children's Hospital?
There are none. They understand.
Okay.
They can't
let's,
do anything. It's
let's
not a
go to
contract.
Defendant's Exhibit 4.
If they're
And
smart,
what
they'll
was
let her
your
start
role
cross
in
after.
Aquaman?
They'll let
I
her
play
start
Mira.
after the break,
And
after the lunch
was that
break.
a lead?
That would be
role?
smart.
Yes, it is
Is
one
Mira
of the
a lead
leading
role?
roles. It's the female lead opposite Jason Momoa's character of Aquaman.
Okay, so you were his mate?
Jesus
You
Christ,
could
that's
say
so
that, yes. I
fucking
was his,
awkward.
love interest, the female. I was a
You were
female.
his mate. That's so awkward, Elaine.
So in December of
Jesus.
2018, as
Romantic
Aquaman's coming
interest in the
out,
movie?
why did you agree to participate in the op-ed?
Weird.
Well,
So weird.
because I believed in some of the
So
causes that the op-ed was seeking to advance. There was a lot
So
of attention and energy around gender-based
so fucking
issues,
awkward.
gender-based violence issues in general. I had just recently become an ambassador for the ACLU. I was proud of that ambassadorship, and I was looking forward to the opportunity to lend my voice to what I thought was a great cause, which is just a conversation around
Thought?
women's issues and gendered issues that I think the whole country was having at that time, quite a political conversation and cultural conversation at the time. And I was happy to lend my voice if I could.
It's an important
Who drafted the
conversation.
first draft of the op-ed?
the
It's an
ACLU.
important conversation.
Did you initially want to include
It doesn't mean you're the
Mr.
right
Depp
person to
by
have the
name or
conversation.
reference?
No.
What, if any, ill will or bad intentions did you have or intend?
That's not the standard for
against Mr.
malice,
Depp
Elaine.
by assisting in writing, giving your name to this op-ed?
Ill will is not the
publishing it?
standard.
None. It's not about Johnny. The only one who thought it was about Johnny is Johnny.
It's not. That's not true.
It's about me. It's about what happened to me after Johnny. It's about what happened to me after I escaped my marriage. It was about me and my
Damn it, I
life
can't
and what
write
I
that.
endured once
Nobody
I
thought
moved on and got a TRO and moved
it
on with my life. It
was
was about what happened to me after.
about
The only one who made it
Johnny.
about him, ironically, is Johnny.
Except Johnny.
I'm going to.
That's gonna bite her.
Michelle. I'm going to turn to.
That's not gonna go
something
well.
About electronics and.
It's not about
transparency.
Johnny. Nobody thought it was about
You
Johnny
have-
except
you
Johnny
Testified
contradicts
about it. I mean,
multiple
we've seen photographs
different
and audio
witnesses.
recordings and text messages, emails, etc.
That's not what the
if
witness
anything,
says.
have you done to cooperate in the authentication of all of these things?
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Sure.
Oh, they're trying to get to the metadata. They're trying to get out ahead of the metadata issue.
A real quick approachy doodle here. Sidebar, the court. Okay, 245, it's in evidence as redacted. Ms. Bredoff, yes, but the one that's in evidence doesn't have the full redactions. It has a title still in there, and quickly, what I'm suggesting is replacing it, court. Okay, Ms. Bredoff. And it's so that it has, because it had a title in it. Yes, you just said that, Elaine. And this has the full redactions. You just said that, Elaine. I have a copy of it, the court. So what's the difference between this one and the one we have in evidence, Ms. Bredoff? So the one that's in evidence is not redacted on the title, the court. Well, I mean, I can make this A. What's in evidence is in evidence. It doesn't change. But if you want 1246A, Ms. Bredoff, then I'll just move it along, the court. You don't have any objection? Ms. Vasquez, no. The court. So 1246A. Ms. Bredoff, 1246, 1245. The court. Is 1245 already in evidence? Ms. Bredoff, this is the redacted. I am so fucking confused. The court. Okay. So 1246. Ms. Bredoff, this is 1245. What are you talking about? I'm lost. I'm lost here. Why? The court. This is 1246. They're both 1246. Ms. Vasquez, and I have 1247. Ms. Bredoff, 1245. What the hell is happening? Ms. Vasquez, I have two 1247s. Oh, dear Lord. Ms. Bredoff, well, that explains. Oh, is this when they... Oh, I bet this is when Judge A gets mad because they're, like, not keeping track of their exhibits. Ms. Vasquez, I have two 1247s. Ms. Bredoff, well, that explains. The court. Maybe that one. Maybe Mr. Murray gave it to you. So this is going to be 1246A, okay? Can I write A on here? Ms. Bredoff, yes. The court. All right, 1246A. Ms. Vasquez, may I have a copy of 1246? Ms. Bredoff, yes. Ms. Vasquez, may I have a copy of 1246? Ms. Bredoff, yes. The court. 1245 and 1247. Ms. Vasquez, thank you. Ms. Bredoff, and then we have 1247. You both have that, right? The court, yes, I have. Ms. Vasquez, I just don't have 1245. The court, yeah, but she wants to get this under 1246, so it's 1246A. No, we're going to get those back and 1247, and then we will do 1246. Ms. Vasquez, do you have also, is this the last one? Do you have the one that's stapled last? Yeah, this one, the court. Okay, Ms. Vasquez, thank you. The court, all right, so I have 1246, I have 1245, 1246A, and 1247. Ms. Bredoff, okay. The court, are there any objections to any of these? No objection, so you can move them in. Ms. Bredoff, okay, thank you. Ms. Vasquez, okay. Oh, my court.
By trying to prove that the title is true, they're putting themselves in that position of, well, yeah, it's not about him, and no, I didn't write it, but even if I did write it, it's true. And
by bringing
she
up defendants
can't not
1245.
argue on her own behalf with this, but they should
Moving
have
that into evidence, no
stopped.
objection, 1245 in evidence.
This is the
Thank you,
best
Your
part
Honor.
of direct. This is what should have started direct.
And this is
But she wanted
an
to tell her
article
story.
that was in the Daily Mail.
Where is half of
on
it redacted?
8 April 2020.
Why is it all redacted?
You see that?
Other statements
So
that they
Emma
tried
and her
to.
friends spilled a little wine and roughed the place up, got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and a publicist, and then placed a second call to 911. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that true or false?
Couldn't be more false.
And why is that?
Every part of it is false. I didn't call 911.
She's mad.
I didn't
it
call
says
the
you and your
police.
friends.
I refused to cooperate with them to protect Johnny. I protected Johnny. I didn't call them once and I didn't call them twice. I didn't rough up the place. I cleaned up the place. I didn't even know the second cops were coming.
Why is this so absurd?
Because Johnny and I lived this. We lived through this. I lived through this and I narrowly survived it. But I survived it. And, I have mountains of evidence, mountains of proof. And yet it won't be good enough for people who are seeking to make money off of Johnny's success.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the
That's
objection.
fine. Okay. So I'm going to take you now to the damages that you've suffered as a result of these statements by Mr. Waldman on Mr. Depp's behalf. Please tell the jury how you were doing
Objection.
reputation.
That's a legal conclusion.
Oh, that's
Your
why she
Honor.
cut her off.
I'm sorry.
Move to strike counsel's testimony.
Come forward.
Ms. Vasquez, objection. That's a legal conclusion, Your Honor. Move to strike counsel's testimony. The court, get over here now. Just kidding. She says, come forward. Sidebar. The court, for the record, do you want to give me your full question? Ms. Bredoff, my question is going to be, please tell the jury how your reputation was doing prior to these statements. The court, okay. Ms. Vasquez, it's the first part of it where she said, the court, that wasn't your question. That question's okay. Ms. Vasquez, the second question is fine. The first one. Ms. Bredoff, I'm sorry, I didn't even, I'll ask. The court, all right. Ms. Vasquez, we'll ask that it be stricken. The court, I'll strike that. Ms. Vasquez, thank you. Back to open court. So, 2 seconds later here, the court, if you want to approach again, that's not what we just said here. Dear God, this was such a disaster. I remember this. Sidebar. The court, I sustained the objection on that. That's a legal conclusion. That's facts. Ms. Bredoff, but there wouldn't be. That's the court. Just understanding of who did it. I'll sustain the objection all day long, every day. Judge A is like, all day, every day. Ms. Bredoff, that's fine. I have other people that can testify. The court, okay. Back to open court.
These three statements were made beginning
So it's going,
April 2020, April 8th.
they're going to what was happening
Objection,
in your
Your Honor. I'm
career.
going to object on lack of foundation.
So they're going to,
She can talk about her reputation.
Overruled. I'll
her perception of her reputation.
It took hard work.
Camille is
it-
not having any of this.
It took a lot of hard work on my part, but I was able to work, get my life back on track.
With respect to Aquaman
Ooh,
1.
Elaine's got her finger on the
Aquaman
button.
2, Aquaman 2.
Look at her. She's
You'd
like, I'm
already
ready, I'm
started
ready, I'm
Aquaman
ready,
1,
I'm ready.
Right, just so and they called it Aquaman at that time, but now there's an Aquaman 2.
Oh my
Just-
God, Elaine, stop
That's
testifying.
correct. Okay. So, Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 1258.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. May we approach?
Sure.
Yes, let's approach.
Sidebar. The court. I'm just getting the copy that the court has here. Okay, what's the objection first? Ms. Vasquez, objection is hearsay and relevance. The court, okay. Ms. Vasquez, I don't know why her contract. The court, why the contract? Ms. Bredoff, Your Honor, I have a brief on this. It's not hearsay. Contracts are not hearsay in Virginia. Virginia laws is if you have a binding contract, that these are legal obligations. The court, I would really appreciate these briefs prior to testimony. Ms. Bredoff, Your Honor, I didn't know if she was going to object. What the hell? The court, you can just assume there's going to be objections. Ms. Bredoff, excellent. I can't. Ms. Bredoff, excellent point by you. So with legal contracts that have legal consequences, the court, there's legal effect, no relevance to the legal effect here. Ms. Bredoff, true. The court, but there's no, Ms. Bredoff, these are her documents. It shows how much she was getting paid. Shows that she had options for the Aquaman and the Aquaman 2. The court, but it's not a contract dispute case where it would have legal effect. Ms. Bredoff, correct, Your Honor, but it's evidence for the damages. The court, well, she can testify to how much she's made, but you can't get the contract in. It's a hearsay. There's no relevance to its legal effect. Ms. Bredoff, well, I would assert, Your Honor, that case law says otherwise, but the court, under contract, the law of contracts, you're right. If it was a contract case, I'd be right there with you. That's just not where we are. Ms. Bredoff, so I can ask her questions on each of these? The court, you can ask her. Ms. Bredoff, I'm going to go through them now. The court, you can discuss how much she made. I'm assuming there's no objection to how much she made for L'Oreal. Ms. Vasquez, no. The court, you can ask how much she made. You just can't get the contracts in. Ms. Vasquez, thank you. Back to open court.
how the contract structure was for Justice League and options? Just explain.
It's
to the
hearsay,
jury,
the
please.
911, because she didn't
It's
call it.
structured like a 3-picture option. You
Just be
I have
angry.
a baby. I want to move on. I want to move on. I want Johnny to move on too. Mom, leave me alone.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Done. It's time for cross.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's probably a good time to go ahead and take our afternoon recess based on that. So go ahead and do not discuss the case and don't do any outside research.
Oh,
Okay,
her
We'll see you in
face is
15 minutes,
recomposed
okay? Thank you.
amazingly quick. I knew
Please,
we were
court
going
is
to get
still
to
in
cross.
session. I need it to be quiet in the
Ooh.
gallery. Thank you.
She is mad at this gallery today. Y'all, we are on to cross. Wow. Let's go. 325
All right,
court
thanks.
resumes.
The bailiff all rise. Please be seated and come to order. The court all right. Miss Bredoff, may we approach? The court sure.
And they're going up before we even get going.
Sidebar. Miss Bredoff, I just want to raise further on that payment of the attorney's fees. The court, okay? Miss Bredoff, in reading this, what this says is that didn't we go over this like 50,000 times already today? In reading this, what this says is that if she opens up the door of the court, right, Miss Bredoff, then we can ask if Mr. Musk made any payments. It doesn't mean that their insurance comes in. No, she said insurance can come in. I was there the other 50 million times. I read that. It does not mean that their insurance comes in. That will be a basis for a mistrial. I would proffer the court the insurance did not pay the $6 million. The court, okay, so insurance didn't pay it. It's not a basis for a mistrial because it's not a personal injury case. Miss Bredoff, well, I still think it would make it for prejudice for the court. So the insurance didn't pay for anything. So can we stay away from insurance then? Miss Vasquez, well, that's just not true. Insurance is paying the cost. The court, for her attorney's fees? Miss Vasquez, yes. Miss Bredoff, she paid $6 million before the insurance company, Mr. Chu. And that, they say that's where the fine got capped. Sorry, they say that's where the fine got capped. According to the ACLU, because she was too expensive, I guess, ELAAAINE? Miss Bredoff, she paid for $6 million. They didn't know that they had insurance. The court, and it's not just the $6 million. I mean, she said that she can't pay all the money to the ACLU because she's paying for attorney's fees. Miss Bredoff, no, she said specifically $6 million. She did not say she's paying for attorney's fees. Now, she can look at the record, Your Honor, but that's not what she said. Miss Vasquez, that's not true, Your Honor. She actually testified $6 million. Miss Bredoff, she did testify to $6 million. The court, correct. Miss Vasquez, she opened the door. Miss Bredoff, no, she didn't open the door for insurance. The insurance didn't pay that $6 million. What she opened the door was asking if Mr. Musk paid it for her. That's in the order. Your Honor, I don't think there's any reason we need to raise that today. I would like to just be able to get the transcript and research it. Court, Mr. Musk may be asked about his payment, if any, of the attorney's fees, and the court will be instructing the jury. It doesn't say anything about insurance, so I'm not sure if that can go either way. It's either not part of this motion to eliminate, or it was not. It's not detailed here. Miss Bredoff, right. So I would like the time to get the transcript, Your Honor, because and I would also like to research, because I do believe that would be a basis for us moving for a mistrial. The court, okay, that insurance company is responsible for this payment. All right, this is what we'll do. You can just ask about Mr. Musk and not the insurance, okay? We'll go that way, okay? Miss Vasquez, at this time, may we have the opportunity to review the transcript? The court, yes, you can. We did say at the beginning that I granted it in part as far as the insurance company. So yeah, you can review the transcript, Miss Vasquez. I want to first. The court, okay, then we'll bring it in. Then we'll bring it today. And right now, that's my ruling, okay? Did you want to talk about your other motion? Mr. Chu, yes, Your Honor. I was hoping that we can hear that now. The court, yes. Mr. Chu, it won't take very long. The court, it's filed under seal, so I assume you want to do it here at the bench. Mr. Chu, we can do it here at the bench, sure. The court, well, you filed it under seal. That would, Miss Vasquez, we're happy to do it in open court. Mr. Chu, we're happy to do it either way. Ms. Vasquez, just outside the presence of the jury. Mr. Rottenborn, we'd rather do it here. Court, that's fine. Okay. Ms. Brotherhoff, Mr. Rottenborn, can you address it? Mr. Rottenborn, is it okay if I address it, Your Honor? Court, that's fine. Yes, sir, that's fine. Mr. Rottenborn, so, keeping in mind, we've just had a very brief, Mr. Chu, Your Honor, I think we get to go first. The court, okay, that's fine. I have read it. What else do you want to add to it? Mr. Chu, Your Honor, I think there are 4 reasons why testimony at trial has opened the door to grant Mr. Depp's motion. 1, I love how he always gives a number of reasons. So we had 2 reasons earlier in the morning housekeeping. Then we had another 2 reasons. And now we have 4 reasons. 1, both parties were accused of violence and both have claimed self-defense. We've seen that in Exhibits 1 and 2. We cited the case of Barnes versus the Commonwealth, Your Honor. We see now it's also, McMahon versus Rounds, which applies it in the civil context. Granting motion is also consistent with the court allowing Ms. Heard's counsel to cross-examine Mr. Depp about Rocky Brooks. Remember, Rocky Brooks is the one who filed the civil assault claim. That's Exhibits 3 and 4. And allowing Ellen Barkin to testify about Mr. Depp throwing a bottle at the wall, not directed at anybody. So that's one reason. The second reason is Ms. Heard's prior reputation, that is before she met Mr. Depp, is clearly relevant. This arrest of Miss Rhee in 2009, it's 2 years before she met Mr. Depp in the relationship. Clearly that's relevant here. Mr. Depp's motion in limine, as far as his prior arrest, was granted as to liability but denied as to reputation because it goes to damages. Your Honor allowed that Mr. Depp was examined about his allegations. We even heard today about L'Oreal and L'Oreal not re-upping her contract. A lot of reasons. One of the reasons could have been she'd been arrested for domestic violence. There's testimony from the ACLU that they considered all the articles. There were a lot of articles about Ms. Heard being arrested for domestic violence. The ACLU considered that. Their only due diligence was asking Ms. Heard her point of view. Your Honor will remember that Ms. Heard's counsel, Mr. Rottenborn, was allowed to ask Mr. Depp about a stack of articles about Mr. Depp's reputation, other things that could have hurt his reputation other than the op-ed. Your Honor assumes that these articles, several articles about Tassa Van Rhee, we should at least be allowed to show her these articles and ask her those the same way Mr. Rottenborn showed Mr. Depp. I mean, he's so right. That's fair. That's fair. And number 3, Your Honor, this is an important one. Ms. Heard's testimony on direct clearly opened the door. She said, quote, "I know you don't come back from that. I mean, you can't hit a woman, you can't hit a man, you can't hit anyone," end quote. That's a direct quote from page 2241 at lines 14 and 15. That opens the door. She says she knows she can't hit a woman. Well, we know she has. She hit Rocky Pennington and she assaulted Tassa Van Rhee, or at least she was arrested for that. Number 4, Your Honor, Ms. Heard self-reported the Tassa Van Rhee incident both to her own psychologist, Dr. Hughes, side note, which Dr. Hughes lied about, and to our psychologist, Dr. Curry. These articles to which I refer are in Exhibits 5 through 6. Finally, Your Honor denied that the motion in limine. Ms. Heard moved for a motion in limine to exclude this. Your Honor denied it. The only limitation that Your Honor made was, quote, "Okay, so you're not saying in your opening statement that she's been convicted of the assault, I'll just make it a ruling," end quote. But we never intended to say that she was convicted of, the court, which she hasn't been, the court, Mr. Chu, because she wasn't convicted. The court, Mr. Chu, that's the only limitation. So number 1, the court denied that motion in limine. Number 2, there are 4 things that have happened since then. Number 1, Ms. Heard opened the door by saying you don't hit a woman. Number 2, since that time, we know that she self-reported that to her own doctor, Dr. Hughes, and to our doctor, not doctor, but our expert, Dr. Curry. The court, Mr. Chu, number 3, we know and we cited, and she claimed self-defense. Once she said, yes, I did throw a vase at Johnny, but that's because I was defending, she opened the door there. And 4, since that time, Your Honor has correctly allowed Ms. Heard to ask Mr. Depp about Rocky Brooks and Ellen Barkin and all those articles. We think it's only fair, Your Honor, and appropriate under the law to allow those limited 7 questions. The court, all right. Mr. Chu, okay. Mr. Rottenborn, Your Honor, obviously, it's no surprise Mr. Chu has brought up at every hearing, whether it's about this or not, he's brought up the Tassa Van Rhee situation, so I'm not surprised they're trying to do this. But the parties are completely differently situated here for a couple reasons. I want to address this point too, because this is the second time Mr. Chu brought this up today. He keeps saying that she hit Rocky Pennington. They even had their expert, Dr. Curry, mislead the jury on what that testimony said. You'll hear from Rocky Pennington tomorrow. Rocky Pennington said, I hit her first and she hit me back. Mr. Chu, she still hit her. The court, are they doing the deposition? The court, are they doing the deposition? Mr. Nadelhoff, not tomorrow. Mr. Chu doesn't mean the court. Mr. Chu, Mr. Rottenborn, thank you, Your Honor. Okay, so she was, I guess, kind of scolding him because he interrupted. Mr. Rottenborn, thank you, Your Honor. But to hear him say she hit a woman, she hit Rocky Pennington, and to have their expert tell the jury that she hit Rocky, and not tell the jury that that was after Rocky Pennington said she hit her first. So I just want to, it's very misleading. There are a couple points, Your Honor. Under 405, what they're trying to get in is an essential element of the claim. Then you can offer specific past instances of conduct. The parties are very differently situated with respect to their two claims, Your Honor. For Mr. Depp, an essential element of his claim is that he has never abused Amber. That's, if you take his defamatory implication that he is advancing at this theory of the case, this op-ed, even though it didn't say that, somehow implied that he had abused her, then none of those statements are defamatory if he did abuse Amber. So an essential part of that part of the case is, did he abuse Amber? It's not an essential element for either Mr. Depp's defense or for Ms. Heard's counterclaim, whether Ms. Heard was ever abusive to Mr. Depp. That's not the parties are totally differently situated, and, Your Honor, excuse me, if I could just finish. Mr. Chu, go ahead. Mr. Rottenborn, Your Honor has ruled several times in instances where the parties are differently situated. The court, right? Mr. Rottenborn, so I don't need to go through all of that, but the parties are very differently situated with respect to this. Mr. Rottenborn, so I don't need to go through all of that, but the parties are very differently situated with respect to this. Whether Ms. Heard was abusive to Mr. Depp and whether she ever committed abuse towards someone else is not an essential element of any claim or defense in this case. It's just not. They're trying to make it seem like the claims are apples to apples, and they are not. The claim is whether Mr. Depp was abusive to Ms. Heard. The converse is not at issue in this case. And under 403, that changes the calculus of probative versus prejudicial. So a few more points, if I may, Your Honor, and I will apologize to the court. That's fine. Mr. Rottenborn, I'm doing my best. The cases that they cited, the Barnes versus Commonwealth case. The other case, the Barnes versus Commonwealth, that's a criminal case. It's talking about self-defense. The court, right? Mr. Rottenborn, and I know that rule has been extended in certain civil cases. I've not had the chance to look at those since the motion was handed up this afternoon, but that case is in opposite, 404. The testimony has to be offered by the accused. So if Mr. Depp witnessed her being violent to someone, then that may be a different story, but he didn't. This is just what they're trying to get in, essentially, is hearsay, or they're trying to get it in for reputation purposes. A couple other points, Your Honor. They didn't attach next. So they attached in Exhibit 4. They keep bringing up this Rocky Brooks thing. If Your Honor will remember, I asked Mr. Depp if he had assaulted, punched a crew member, and we approached, and then I explained why I wanted to ask him that. The court, Mr. Rottenborn, because Mr. Bett and Mr. Judge were the two bodyguards who were present with him, and I said I'm not asking him anything else. What they didn't attach is the very next, what Your Honor said, you can ask that one question. The court, right? Mr. Rottenborn, so I didn't ask two, and Your Honor didn't let me go into the details of the assault. The court, Mr. Rottenborn, the whole purpose that they're trying to get into, did she assault Miss Free? I was trying to get into who were the bodyguards who were present. So this motion in this brief, that somehow we were able to question Mr. Depp about this, that's not true. The court, I understand. Mr. Rottenborn, finally, Your Honor, with respect to reputation, what I was able to question Mr. Depp about, he's claiming he lost Parrot 6 because of the op-ed. I was able to ask him questions about that series. The court, for the damages issues, I understand, Mr. Rottenborn, yeah, it relates directly to his role, his reliability as an actor. This is a 2009 incident, the court, and a 2016 article. Mr. Rottenborn, correct. If they want to ask her about the effect, I don't know if they're saying it's reputation or saying it's reputation relating to damages. The defamation claim seeks damages from April 2020 on, so it's not nearly as close space in time, number one. Number two, it's a 2009 issue. 2016 article that their team obviously released right after the TRO was filed because they're from June 2016. I'm assuming that's the case. You know, it's right after she accused Johnny of abuse. The court, right? Mr. Rottenborn, and it's just too far attenuated to any damages at issue in this case that Ms. Heard is seeking. And then finally, with respect to this, 2 more points. Finally, with respect to this self-defense point, Mr. Depp can't just open the door to ask Ms. Heard about any of the prior conduct by saying, I acted in self-defense. I mean, it's one thing if he wants to get up there and testify to times when he specifically acted in self-defense, that's one thing. But to say, I acted in self-defense and therefore I get to ask Ms. Heard about these allegations of abuse, that's far too attenuated. And finally, he said that Ms. Heard opened the door by saying you can't hit a woman. I haven't had a chance to read the transcript. I'm pretty sure if you look at it in context, what she was saying is the relationship doesn't come back from that when that happens. She wasn't saying, I have never done this or that. She was talking about what thoughts go through her head when Mr. Depp struck her for the first time. So there's no relevance. Mr. Chu, Your Honor, the court, all right, Mr. Chu, briefly. Briefly. Number one, Your Honor has already ruled on similar objections made. Violence to Mr. Depp is very much at issue in this case. He lost the top of his finger. Very much an issue in this case. Whether Ms. Heard cut it off or whether she said he somehow did it himself. Number one, that's number one. Number two clearly goes, Your Honor, to reputation, and Mr. Rottenborn was allowed to ask Mr. Depp about a stack of newspapers or articles related to other issues that may have affected his reputation. This goes to her reputation. The court, right? What's the relevance of the reputation in 2016 when these articles were, Mr. Chu, because the court, I'm just asking the question. Mr. Chu, the ACLU, the republication, number one, ACLU considered it when they were doing a minimum due diligence on Amber. They looked at those articles themselves, and I asked them, Mr. Doherty, what due diligence, if any, did they do? He said, we asked Amber, and Amber said it was indiscernible. This absolutely goes to a reputation. There could be any number of the court, so reputation prior to the 3 statements, Mr. Chu, yeah, but it's still relevant, Your Honor. It's directly relevant to reputation. As Your Honor has said, this case goes to reputation. Court, Mr. Chu, and at a very minimum, Your Honor, Ms. Vasquez should be able to be allowed to ask her about the articles, the same articles that the ACLU considered in 2018 when they did the op-ed 4 through 7, because that would be very consistent with what Your Honor did with respect to Mr. Depp. The court, all right, Mr. Chu with Rocky Brooks. The court, that's fine. Mr. Rottenborn, may I make one more comment, Your Honor? The court, what's that, sir? Mr. Rottenborn, with respect to Mr. Depp, the reason he lost Pirate 6, there's a lot of corroborating evidence in this case about Mr. Depp. The court goes to both sides. Mr. Rottenborn, I understand, Your Honor, but they're essentially just trying to just put in the court. She has testified that her reputation before these three attorneys' statements was stellar. She worked real hard. It was perfect. So I mean, Mr. Rottenborn, 4 years prior, she was not saying things were going well in 2018. The court, since the TRO, she was working hard to get it back. Mr. Rottenborn, right. And what they want to do is bring in a 2016 article published a week after the TRO about a 2009 incident. That's so far afield than anything we asked them about. The court, okay, I understand. I think because I'm taking all my notes, and there's been a lot of testimony about her being reactive, always reactive. She is hit, but it was reactive. I think for impeachment purposes, then, it comes in about the violence with other people or that you assaulted your ex-girlfriend. But as far as the arrest goes, I'm just not going to allow arrests in. I think it's too prejudicial because it lists an arrest, not conviction, so I'm not letting any arrests come in. So that kind of hits the articles then, too. Mr. Chu, we can use the article, the court, but it says arrested. Mr. Rottenborn, that's the headline. The court, anyways, what I'm saying, I can't, arrested doesn't come in. If you go, you can have her talk about that there are articles about that they came out, about the assault. Mr. Vasquez, about the assault. Mr. Chu, about the assault. The court, about the assault, without getting the articles in. But you can get articles in that talk about the assault, but we're not going to arrested. I think it's prejudicial, gives a connotation to the jury when she wasn't arrested for anything, okay? So we're talking number 1 is fine, number 3 is fine, number 4 and 5. You're just going to have to provide articles. I'm taking my pen, Mr. Chu. Mr. Chu, 1, 3, the court. You're going to have to find a way to do it without referencing the article. Mr. Chu, thank you. The court, you got it. Mr. Chu, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Brodahoff, is this going to happen this afternoon? The court, I don't know when it's going to happen, but the ruling stands. Mr. Chu, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Brodahoff, because we didn't look at it. The court, we don't come back tomorrow. We don't go backwards. Mr. Chu, we understand. The court, okay, we're ready for the jury.
The jury's going to be coming back in?
Whereupon, jury entered the courtroom and the following proceedings took place. And thus begins cross-examination.
Cross-examination?
Cross-examination. Here we go. It's happening. It's happening. What's the first question, Camille? Bring it. Bring it.
Good afternoon, Ms. Heard.
Good afternoon.
Starting out respectful.
Mr. Depp hasn't looked at you once this entire trial, has he?
Ooh. No, he is not.
Not that I've noticed, no.
You've looked at him, though, many times, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
You know exactly why Mr. Depp won't look back at you, don't you?
Ooh.
I do.
Oh.
He promised you you would never see his eyes again. Isn't that true?
Oh.
I don't recall if he said that.
One of the last times you ever saw Mr. Depp was when you met him in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
That was the second to last time I saw him, yes.
And this was after you had publicly accused him of domestic violence.
Oh.
I got my restraining order before that, yes. Mm-hmm.
And this is after you had obtained the domestic violence restraining order against him.
That's correct.
Let's please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 1229. For the record, it's at 1101 through 1209.
Oh, right into audio.
I'm going to ask that it be admitted into evidence.
Oh, new audio.
229.
Get it, Camille.
Yes.
But respectful.
All right,
Respectful and firm.
1229.
Good leading
You want to enter
questions.
it in its entirety?
Yes, please.
I think
Okay.
Camille's probably a little
1229
nervous.
entered in
It's
its
that
entirety.
nerve-sighted.
Go ahead and play your section.
Is this audio from San Francisco?
No. Oh no, a hug will save it all. All this, everything we just been
I
through.
just wanted to touch you.
Really? After all this shit you just
I
said?
just wanted to give
After
you a
all this
hug.
shit you fucking accused me of? You
Yes,
want to touch me?
please stop me.
Fucking
Please stop.
fucking nuts.
Please, I just wanted to hug you and say bye. I didn't want to take it back.
We did that last night. It's fine. That was good enough. No, because I'm nothing to you. And I will always be nothing to you.
Calm.
Get what? You're my friend.
Your hands are hard. Please just calm.
No, you're in fucking home. No, we'll never see each other again.
We'll never see each other again.
Don't take my fucking glasses off. You don't like fucking looking at not my fucking eyes? You will not see my eyes again.
Audio.
That's you and Mr. Depp in that recording.
That is.
And this is from when you and Mr. Depp met in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
Yes, that's what it sounds like. That was in the hotel. We met once after that as well.
This is after you publicly accused him of domestic abuse.
Yes, and got my TRO.
Yeah. And he tells you, you will not see my eyes again, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yes, he does in that recording.
And he kept that promise, hasn't he?
As far as I know, he cannot look at me.
He cannot.
He won't look at you, right, Ms. Heard?
He can't.
He won't.
One of the first questions your counsel asked you on direct is, why are you here? Do you remember that?
Yep. I do.
Let's please play Plaintiff Exhibit 357A.
Coming right in
which
with
is
the
already
audio.
Evidence, Your Honor. And for the record, it's 2122 through 2140.
Right, and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny.
Good.
Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and
Yes.
it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
They should have gotten ahead of this.
That's your voice on that recording, right?
Yes, it
I'm
is.
surprised they
And
didn't.
you were speaking with Mr. Depp.
Yes.
And you said to Mr. Depp, quote, you can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and the judge think. Tell the world, Johnny.
Tell them.
Tell them, Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, a victim
I-
too of domestic violence, end quote. That's what you said, right?
I was saying it to the man who beat me up, yes. I thought it was preposterous.
And the man you beat up numerous times.
Ooh.
Right, Ms. Heard?
I could never hurt Johnny.
Oh.
You're here in this courtroom because Mr. Depp finally told the world that he is a victim of domestic violence.
I know that he is suing me and has sued other people or corporations that have said that as well.
You didn't think he would tell the world he was a victim of domestic violence,
Oh,
did you?
shit.
I found it hard to believe that he could or that he would do that, considering the relationship he and I had. I thought it would be
Preposterous.
crazy for him to do so, knowing what I know we lived through.
Or, as you said to him in that recording, who was going to believe that Johnny Depp, a man, is a victim of domestic violence, right?
That's
With all due respect, I wasn't saying it because he's a man. I was saying it because he was a man who beat me up for 5 years.
Mr. Depp is your victim, isn't he?
they're going right in.
No, ma'am.
And once he left you, you continued to abuse him publicly by calling him an abuser, didn't you?
He is an abuser, and you can look either of us up online and figure out who's being abused online.
Let's look at some of that.
Oh.
Mr. Depp wears rings on every finger, doesn't he, Miss Heard?
That's my experience, yes.
And they're not delicate rings, are they?
No.
No, they are not.
And Mr. Depp is always wearing rings, right, Miss Heard?
That's my experience of him.
And you've never known him not to wear these rings.
That's my experience, is he normally wore rings, yes.
It's an interesting
So
way to
Mr.
say
Depp
it.
was wearing these big, chunky rings on every finger. Every incident of abuse you've described to this jury, right?
I can't say for certain it was in every single incident.
But you've never known him not to wear rings, right?
In general, my experience with Johnny is that he wears rings almost all the time.
Where are the medical records, Miss Heard?
Ms. Heard, do you recall giving testimony in a deposition in this matter in January of this year?
I do.
Can we please play
Oh, I guess we're getting into some
from
of
your
the
deposition, day 2,
Yep.
512, page 512, lines 11 through 15?
She said, please play. So I'm guessing they're getting into the video depot. Well, that answers that
He
question.
said he hit you and he was
No,
wearing
audio.
rings.
right, Ms. Heard? So he hit you with rings on every finger?
I don't know if I've ever known Johnny to not wear rings.
Yeah.
They had that queued right up.
Ms. Heard, you testified to an incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times. Do you recall that?
That's correct.
And you testified, quote, you don't know how many times he hit you in the face.
That's correct.
So Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times while he was wearing rings on this occasion, correct?
Which occasion in March are you referencing? You weren't
The
specific.
testimony that you gave on day 15 of this trial,
We don't know
March
what
of
date,
2013.
because
you weren't
you weren't
specific
clear.
as to the day.
There were several incidents.
The one where he hit you several times in the face.
Sorry, just so I understand better, there were several incidents in March. Which one are you asking me about?
The
The one
time
that
that he
you
hit you
testified
several
to.
times in the face wearing rings.
Well, he pretty
In
much
March of
always,
2013.
right.
that you
What are you
testified
asking me?
to.
I'm sorry.
He was wearing rings on that occasion?
I pretty much always knew him to wear rings.
Okay, let's please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 170,
Oh, they're going to go
A,
right for the pictures.
which is already in evidence, Your Honor.
Right for the photos.
You testified that this is a picture you took after that incident, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, that was one where he grabbed me.
And hit you in the face so many times that you don't remember. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And there's no injuries to your face in this picture, are there?
Correct.
Not that this picture shows.
And there's no medical records reflecting that you sought
Right
treatment after
into
this
it.
alleged incident either.
I did not seek medical treatment at this time.
So there's no medical records reflecting any injuries to your face after he hit you several times,
I did not need to go to the doctor at the time.
despite hitting you several times
With
that
the
you
rings.
lost count with rings on on his fingers.
That's correct. I did not seek medical attention.
She said,
Other
I
than
didn't
my
need.
therapist.
And then she said, I didn't seek.
You testified to another incident in March of 2013.
Right into the medical records.
13, where Mr. Depp hit you while he was wearing a lot of rings. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
And you testified you felt like your lip went through your teeth and it got
She
a little
did say
blood
that.
on the wall.
Yes,
Did
I
say
remember that.
There isn't a picture of you with injuries after that alleged incident, is there?
I don't know if I've seen one. I
Did you
can't
take
recall.
one?
There are a lot of pictures.
You didn't produce any photographs after that alleged incident, did you, Ms.
I don't
Wright?
know if I took one or if it's included. I'm not quite sure which ones.
You didn't show any pictures to this jury after describing that alleged incident.
No,
That
she
your
didn't.
teeth, your lip went into your teeth. You don't remember that, right? You
I
didn't show
don't-
any pictures to this jury
Let her
after
finish her
describing that incident,
question.
right?
This is going to get saucy.
I don't believe I've seen that picture admitted.
That picture doesn't exist.
That's a sidestep.
I don't know which one you're talking about. We have pictures from March 2013.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The only picture that you've produced and shown to this jury is the one that was just put up on the screen, where you said he hit you multiple times in the face and you appear to have what is a bruise on your arm, correct?
That's right.
I believe this is the only picture that's in evidence right now.
It's the only picture you've shown to this jury.
The
from March
sidestepping. This is going to
2013,
take very
correct?
long.
I believe so.
This is like a.
You
She's
testified about an
doesn't want
incident
to
in
answer.
Russia on or about June 26,
the
2013.
plane.
Do you remember that?
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that Mr. Depp, quote, whacked you in the face.
That's correct.
And you went to the bathroom after that, right?
I did.
And then, according to your testimony, when you came out of the bathroom, Jerry Judge, Mr. Depp's security guard, who's passed away, pointed out that your nose was bleeding, right?
who passed away.
He
She
did
got
that in the hallway.
gently.
And you said you hadn't known that your nose was bleeding until Jerry Judge pointed it out to you.
Yes, that's correct. I was unaware until he brought it up to me. I didn't see it when I was in the bathroom, but I
Yes.
wasn't looking.
It was
So-
you.
So it's your testimony that you went into the
Maybe a full
bathroom
chutney moment.
and didn't look in the mirror, which I assume was in the bathroom, to notice that your nose was bleeding.
Were you in the shower?
That's not why I went into the bathroom. I went into the bathroom crying. I don't even know if I paid attention to the mirror.
This is a picture of you, Ms. Heard,
Yes, it is.
at that event,
Yes, it is.
the night after the Met Gala,
Yes, it is.
the night after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose.
Good cross.
I'm not sure if it was broken for the record, but
I'm
yeah, you
not
should see
sure
what
if
it
it
looked
was
like
crossing.
underneath the makeup.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1254.
She's still looking at the jury on cross, which is really interesting.
This is also a picture of you at the same event, correct, Ms. Heard?
There'd be
That is
medical
correct.
if she broke her nose.
Move to
She would
admit
have to have
Plaintiff's
somebody
Exhibit
reset it,
1254.
and she
All right,
would have
1, 2, 5,
likely
4
have
in
chipped
evidence
teeth.
published.
She
And
said,
makeup covers up swelling, right?
Makeup will not cover up swelling. Ice will, though.
ice will cover
Ice will
up
cover up
swelling.
swelling?
Ice reduces swelling. Normally, the swelling after that kind of injury is not as bad as you might imagine. And for me,
What?
it wasn't that
Girl.
bad. I have a picture of it underneath the makeup. That's how I know how to reference it.
Let's see.
A picture you haven't produced or shown to
did.
this jury, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
But you haven't shown it to this jury.
I would very much like to. It's not my job.
It's not my job, ma'am. It's
Madam
not my
Judge,
job.
Please. It's fine.
Is she gonna blame her lawyers? Wait, are they approaching? So
Sidebar, Ms. Vasquez. Your Honor, she's characterizing that she's producing photographs that haven't been. The court, is this your photograph? Ms. Vasquez. There are photographs that haven't been produced? The court. She said there's a photo. Ms. Vasquez. It wasn't listed in any direct examination. Ms. Bredhoff. Well, first of all, we have a motion in limine court ordered that we don't bring up discovery issues without first checking with the court. Second of all, Your Honor, I don't know whether we have a lot of pictures that came in through the investigation, you know, going into all the devices, and Your Honor has ruled that we can't put any of them in. Oh my God, no. She's really saying that. I don't know if it's one of those or not. We certainly have been diligent in producing everything we have, but there certainly are injuries that we didn't find earlier that came in through the last device. So I don't know the answer to that, and those prohibited me from introducing a lot. The court. God, she's so patient. The court. No, I'm asking this question. Is there a picture of her that she just testified that she said there's a picture that she gave you guys that has the nose? Ms. Bredhoff. I don't know, Your Honor. I don't know. There are a lot of pictures. The court. I know, but if there's no picture, I have issue with that, Ms. Bredhoff. The answer is I don't know whether she does or not. There are just so many pictures. There's no way for me to know that. Ms. Vasquez, not for you, but she should be able to know that. The court. Okay, I just don't know. Ms. Bredhoff. There's nothing I can do about it. She can testify, Ms. Vasquez. I think she should be prohibited from testifying. Ms. Bredhoff. I don't think she can be prohibited. She's asking her questions. The court. Right? Ms. Bredhoff. I don't know the answer to those. She's answering whatever she is. I can't be responsible for knowing thousands of pictures. We're talking. The court. Here's the problem. If you're saying that you don't think it exists or you don't know if it exists and it doesn't go to this jury, Ms. Bredhoff, I can go back tonight and look, Your Honor, but I don't know the answer. I understand that. That's not the problem. She keeps, Ms. Bredhoff, there are thousands of documents. Oh my God, that's the 1,000th time you've said that. This sidebar alone, Elaine. The court. She keeps commenting on the evidence or lack of evidence. I understand she asked the question. There wasn't anything. But the answer is there isn't. But she keeps saying there are pictures, Ms. Bredhoff. I understand. She's asking her if there are pictures, which is actually a violation of the court order on the motion in limine. Oh my God. Oh, the court. That's not a violation of the court order, Ms. Bredhoff. It is. I don't think Your Honor can prohibit her from testifying that she has them, Ms. Vasquez. That's not what she's saying, the court. She's saying they exist, Ms. Bredhoff. I understand that, and I'm telling you, under oath, I, as an officer of this court, I don't know. There are more than 100,000 of pictures that have come out that we had, and we had a bunch of them that we put into evidence after they went through that process, and Your Honor ruled they can't come in. So there may well be. The court, all right, Ms. Bredhoff. Maybe the ones we're not allowed to get in. Of course they are, right? That would just be so convenient for you. Ms. Vasquez, I would like some type of instruction, Your Honor, that she's not to comment on pictures. She's testifying that there are pictures that exist. The court, but you asked the question, Ms. Bredhoff. But she opened up the door. The court, no, she did not open up the door. Ms. Vasquez, no, they haven't been produced, Your Honor, and here's the problem here. They weren't produced. The court, on time. Ms. Vasquez, they weren't produced on time in the discovery period. The court, right, Ms. Vasquez. So I don't think she should be allowed to comment on whether or not the pictures exist and whether she turned them over and they're part of this trial. Ms. Bredhoff, she's asked whether they exist, and she now knows they exist because they came through that. She can answer that honestly. You can't prohibit her from responding under oath to a question that she posed to her. We can't prohibit that. The court. this is what we'll do. Going forward, we'll ask the question. If she says they exist, that kind of opens the door to her talking about discovery issues. Ms. Vasquez, right. The court, you didn't turn them over in time. Ms. Vasquez, correct. The court, she can go into that if you want to. You don't even know if those pictures exist. Ms. Vasquez, the other problem I have, Your Honor, is the only picture that Ms. Bredehoft in direct examination tried to bring into evidence was one photograph from 2012. Nothing about, so she's commenting on pictures that, Ms. Bredehoft, I intended to put in a lot more, but when Your Honor ruled, she's always blaming the judge. It's just, I just can't even. I can't. The court, I understand. I think we're going in circles now. You're kind of stuck with her answers now, but you can go further into discovery issues if you want to. I don't know what her response will be. If you need a jury instruction later on, we'll instruct that at jury instructions, okay? Ms. Vasquez, thank you very much. Ms. Bredehoft, thank you. The court, okay, back to open court.
And you testified that you had a bruise across your jaw from when Mr. Depp, quote, clocked you in the face, end quote.
That's true.
You didn't take any pictures of these injuries while you were in Australia, did you?
I don't think I took any pictures.
You just took 2 pictures of Mr. Depp's writing on a mirror. Isn't that right?
I believe so, yes.
So you had your phone on you, right?
At some point, I did have my phone.
And your iPad?
I had my iPad, I believe.
You testified that you were also raped with a liquor bottle in Australia, right?
She testified to that.
Yes.
She did say
You
that.
testified you bled from your vagina as a result of that sexual assault.
She said that. She did.
Yes.
Camille's not.
There aren't any medical records reflecting that you sought medical treatment for any
Not
of these
mincing
injuries,
words.
are there?
I did not seek medical treatment after Australia, no.
Not for the rape?
No, I did not want to tell anyone.
Not for the cuts?
No,
Not
Not
for the
for
cuts
the
to your
injuries to
feet.
your face?
I didn't need to.
I didn't need to. You've complained about
I will do.
all of
Thank
these injuries. Where is the evidence, the mountains of evidence, the mountains of proof that back up everything that you're alleging? And that's a very, very strong cross style. So going
Can I
again,
approach the witness,
this,
Your
this,
Honor?
this,
Yes,
this,
ma'am.
this.
And
Thank you,
would like
KG.
copies?
Yes, please.
Oh, here's your testimony. Here, we have it. We have a copy. Her nose does look incredible for so many broken noses. Matt Bond, you would have think she would have needed a doctor, like a plastic surgeon or someone, an ENT, a specialist of some sort, and potentially a dentist. Because if you're getting hit in the face that much, wouldn't you chip your teeth? I chipped my teeth playing water polo.
Heard to
I hate
page
it.
of day 16, 4593, the jury trials transcript.
I'm caught up on the teeth. No mention of teeth. No mention of her teeth. She only talked about her tooth going through her lip, but no mention of her teeth banging together. I
thought I probably had a concussion and certainly thought, excuse me, start that, let's start over. I thought I probably had a concussion and certainly that I had a broken nose. There was blood everywhere, blood all over the pillows. My head was bleeding from the ripped out hair, chunks of hair on the floor, all over the place.
all over the
actually.
place. That's a lot.
So
of hair.
lines
That was day 15 of
9.
trial.
that I had a broken nose. Do you recall giving that testimony, Ms. Heard?
Yes, exactly.
So you had a broken nose, right?
That's absolutely what I thought.
You had 2 black eyes after this incident, right?
I wonder if something happened there because she looked up.
Have 2 black eyes after that incident.
Sorry if I
And you
scared you.
testified that you also had a busted lip from when Mr. Depp punched you.
I scared me.
That is correct. From December, yes, that's correct.
You testified that the lip wound kept reopening when you moved your mouth.
As
That's
they
correct.
want to do.
You also testified that you had bruising on your temple
That's correct.
and bruising on your chin.
Correct.
You also testified that your head was bleeding from where Mr. Depp ripped chunks of your hair out.
I remember, yes.
And that you had, quote, gross, pussy, end quote, bruising around your temple.
Maybe we'll ask Law too.
In my scalp, yeah.
Now, for this incident, you did take pictures.
That's correct.
And we will look at some of those in a minute. But
I don't know
first
how to
want to
spell
talk to you
pussy
about your
for my
appearance
notes.
on the James Corden show.
I feel like I'm spelling
Sure.
pussy.
Can I close this?
Sure.
I feel like I'm spelling pussy incorrectly on my notes, but gross, pussy,
It's your testimony under oath that you saw an ENT for broken noses that you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp?
No, but the ENT told me I sustained
Objection.
multiple fractures.
No, I'm going to move to strike.
I'll sustain the objection. I'll
Move to strike. There we go.
Thank you.
Where's
again,
the medical
just
records
to-
from the ENT?
Try my question. There's no medical records reflecting that you broke your nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp. Is there a misheard?
I don't know what made it in evidence, but I do know that I documented that visit and that everything was given to my attorneys.
I don't know what
Misheard,
made it into
you never
evidence.
went to see any doctor or surgeon to treat a broken nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp. Yes or no?
I never sought treatment for broken nose while I was with Johnny.
Or after you were with Mr. Depp as a result of any injuries you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp.
Afterwards, yes, I did.
And you didn't produce those medical records in this case.
I object, Your Honor. She did.
I did.
I don't know.
Oh,
They have not been produced, Your
Yet
Honor.
they not only
All right, if you would
approach. Ladies.
Miss Vasquez, they have not been produced, Your Honor. Miss Bredoff, not only have they been produced, the court, approach, get over here now for a sidebar. The court, medical records. I remember this. The court, medical records. Miss Bredoff, they absolutely were produced, Miss Vasquez. No, Miss Bredoff, I can guarantee they were. We'll find them tonight. It's in the record. We didn't admit them because Your Honor won't let us have any medical records that are hearsay. See, again, blaming Judge A for something that's just like, this is in the rules of evidence. Like, these are rules. This isn't, you blame her for everything. The court, right. Miss Bredoff, so we can't put them in, which I think they opened the door, so we should. The court, I don't know about that, Miss Vasquez. I have never seen any medical records that she went to see an ENT. God, I remember this. This was wild. Miss Bredoff, I'm 100% certain we produced them. I guarantee we produced those. Miss Vasquez, well, she also hasn't tried to introduce them in this case. Miss Bredoff, because, see, here we go. Miss Bredoff, because Your Honor ruled we can't. I mean, it's like, you know, it's funny. Earlier, was this, no, this would have been yesterday in terms of the trial, day 16. It was the whole thing, she had a whole different thing. It was always Depp's team, right? She blamed Depp's team a number of times, through and through. Depp's team, da-da-da-da. Today, it's Judge A. Judge A is her target for the fault. It's Judge A's fault. Everything is Judge A's fault now today. Miss Bredoff, because Your Honor ruled we can't, the court. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to understand. You asked the question, you're stuck with her answer, so let's move forward now. Miss Vasquez, okay, thank you. Miss Bredoff, thank you. Back to open court.
Camille's style of cross is so much more effective. She is firm. She is asking questions. There's an appropriate level of distrust or skepticism, but she's not yelling at Amber Heard, which is why she's getting to answers that the jury is hearing, because she's not just trying to scream over her.
You don't have any medical records reflecting that you required any dental work during your relationship with Mr. Depp.
Thank you for asking about dental work. Because when you get punched in the face a lot, it chips your teeth.
I don't know.
She's like, I don't understand why you're asking. That's so weird.
You don't recall one way or another seeking dental care for any injuries you allegedly sustained?
You asked me about if I had produced records or if I had records. That's a different question.
Did you ever see a dentist or an oral surgeon as a result of any injuries you sustained with Mr. Depp?
Not about any injury I had from Johnny, no.
Yeah.
So directing your attention, I'm going to move to admit Exhibit 252A.
Any objection? Any objection, Ms. Bredoff? Could you turn on your microphone?
Could you turn on your mic, Ms. Bredoff?
Thank you.
I need to see it first because I don't know what they redacted.
252.
Well, that's
We
fair.
redacted the identifiers
And that's fair.
and anything that's not misheard
Up or down.
text messages,
That's fair.
consistent with hearsay.
We redacted it consistent with, the law. Don't look at your colleagues. Just breathe, Camille. You're doing great. You're doing amazing, sweetie. This style of cross is much, much more effective. It's going to take time, but it is methodically going through each and every aspect of, you took this, you took...
Sidebar, Miss Bredoff. Your Honor, you may recall that when we were putting our evidence in, they got to look at it and then talk about context. And they're trying to... And they're trying to, I'll autocorrect here, they're trying to suggest here that she's just willy-nilly sending these pictures to embarrass him. But the context here is this is to Rocky Pennington. She's saying, quote, "Are you guys okay?" End quote. And then Amber says, quote, "Barely. I think I knocked on your door when you were at yoga, this is what I've been dealing with," end quote. And then she sends these pictures. So I think in context, I think it has to come in because the context in which she's asking the court, again, context is not an exception to hearsay. Ms. Butterhoff, well, Your Honor allowed them to put documents in for context. The question is to her, is she's suggesting that she's sending it to her to embarrass him, but in fact, Rocky's asking her, and then she's coming back and saying how she's doing. She says, "Barely. That's what I've been dealing with." The court. So barely is coming in. Ms. Vasquez, right. The court. All that coming in. Ms. Vasquez, right. The court. Just which of you guys? Okay, coming home now. I was at yoga. So she's reading a text. Ms. Butterhoff, and dealing should come in as well. The court. That's all in. Ms. Vasquez, that's all coming in. The only thing we're hoping to have, the court. All Amber's texts are coming in, correct? Just Ms. Pennington. Ms. Butterhoff, okay. The court, okay. Ms. Butterhoff, okay. So the still fighting is coming in as well? The court, barely. I think I knocked on the door when you were at yoga. This is what I've been dealing with. Ms. Butterhoff. But if you go up to the page before, this is still Amber. The court, that's not coming in at this point. Ms. Vasquez, it's been redacted. Ms. Butterhoff, still fighting? The court, nope. This is their evidence. This is all they want to bring in. Any objection to what they are bringing in? Ms. Butterhoff, yes, Your Honor, because it's not complete. Wow. The court, all right, understand. Overruled, it comes in. Ms. Butterhoff, okay. Back to open court.
Sir, does
Camille's
this
also a very
refresh your
talented
recollection
attorney.
that you did in fact send this picture to your friend Rocky Pennington?
Yes, I did.
You weren't afraid the
Toddler headbutts
monster
are
would get
vicious.
upset that you took this picture?
This
Good
was
question.
Opiate Johnny. This is a different
Not a monster? Is Opiate Johnny
version
not a
of him.
monster?
This is
Wait.
Opiate on the Nod Johnny.
Is Opiate
And
Johnny
you
not a
weren't
monster?
afraid that Opiate Johnny, or the monster as you called him, would get upset that you sent this picture to your friend?
Well, he's all of those things. Of course,
You're
he
not
could get
answering the
upset.
question.
Of course, that's scary to me. Of course, but
Didn't stop you from sending this picture to your friend, did it?
why would it?
Let that sink in. Why should I be afraid?
Mr. Depp's
You're not afraid because he didn't
right
abuse
hand
you,
is in
correct?
his pocket, right, Miss Heard? In this
Yes.
picture?
Why would
correct.
Why would I be afraid of him? Holy shit.
Directing your attention, Miss Heard, to a photograph.
Ooh,
This is a
talk about the
photograph you
tampon
took in
applicator.
March of 2013, right?
That is correct.
So
And
shocked.
this was taken at your apartment in Orange.
Yes,
And this is your breakfast table.
that is correct.
And that is your driver's license?
And it's your testimony that Mr. Depp left this breakfast table just the way you took it.
I can't believe
That
she
is
said
correct.
So this is what the table looked like after Mr. Depp had been doing cocaine.
that. After.
Well, clearly he has yet to snort these lines.
There are 4 lines of cocaine on this table, right, Miss Heard?
In this picture, I see 4 lines.
There isn't any cocaine residue around those lines, right?
Correct.
Not that I can tell. No.
Doesn't really look like anyone's been doing cocaine off that table, does it?
They're getting to whether it's staged.
With all due respect, I'm not sure you know how that works.
I'm asking if you do. You testified you've
I'm
done
asking
cocaine.
if
I
you
have.
do.
Doesn't really look like Mr.
good
Depp or
response.
anyone was doing cocaine off that table, does it?
I beg to differ with you on that. When you snort cocaine, typically it goes into your nose.
Tell me more about it.
And
It
there's
doesn't stay on the
residue.
table.
There's residue from that cocaine when your lips and nose touch the table, right?
Well, the tampon applicator next to the driver's license that you see is
The tampon applicator.
a device that I believe my sister had taught him to use in order to
Wow. This is great
put
testimony.
the cocaine in your nose.
My sister taught Johnny
Mr.
Depp
is
how
a
to
pretty
snort
heavy
cocaine.
Smoker, right?
My sister
He
taught
is.
Johnny Depp how to snort cocaine. Was that the
And
testimony we just
cigarette in
got?
the ashtray in the back there,
Um,
back right.
yes, it looks like one of his hand rolls.
There's no ash in that ashtray either, is there?
Staged photo.
Not that I can tell in this picture.
It's pretty clean.
In this picture, it looks like it. Yes.
It's a pretty neat table.
So her
Wouldn't you
sister
agree?
teaching Johnny Depp how to do coke?
Depends on what you would call neat, I suppose.
And you sent this picture to your friend, Rocky Pennington, as well, didn't you?
I sure did.
You were deposed in August of 2016 in connection with your divorce proceedings from Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
And you will recall that the video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen was released online the day before your deposition in August of 2016, don't you?
That's correct.
You're the one who released that video.
Incorrect.
Isn't that true?
Ooh,
That's
into the
incorrect.
TMZ photo.
I flew in from another place at the time. I remember learning about it when I landed.
So it's just a coincidence that the video you took of Mr. Depp was released the day before you were deposed in connection with your divorce from Mr. Depp.
I absolutely had nothing to do with that. I wouldn't even know how to do something like that.
Oh my. I'm glad they got into it.
You settled your divorce from Mr. Depp in August of 2016, right?
That sounds right.
And in connection with that settlement, you received $7 million from Mr. Depp, true?
That's correct.
And then
6.8 exactly.
your settlement amount was $7 million.
That's correct.
She said
And then you
6.8.
released a
No, it was
statement in
7.
which you claimed you would be donating the entire $7 million to charity, right?
That's correct.
You stated you would be donating half of the $7 million to the ACLU,
That's correct.
and you would be donating the other half to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
That is correct.
And you also stated, with respect to the $7 million divorce settlement, that money played no role except for the extent that you could donate the money to charity.
Yes, that's correct.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1259.
Yes, please, let's pull it up.
This is an article entitled Amber Heard Donates Johnny Depp Divorce Settlement to Charity. Read her statement in full. Is that correct?
Donates.
That's what the title says, yes.
Directing your attention to the
Trying to
portion on the
distance.
second page where it says, quote, read the statement below. Is that the statement you released, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I move to admit the statement and the article as redacted.
Objection, hearsay.
It's her
It's your
statement.
This is not her statement. This is
She just testified, Your Honor,
said
that it's
she-
her
it's her
statement.
statement.
Just said it was hers.
May I see the full?
Just laid the
Everything
foundation.
else is redacted.
No, you don't need to see it. She just said it was hers.
Okay, then I have no objection.
All right.
Yeah,
1259
you're not
in
going to get an
evidence as
objection,
redacted.
even if you think you have an objection, because it's her statement, and she just said
The statement
that was
reads,
laying a foundation, Elaine.
as described in the restraining order and divorce settlement, money played no role for me personally and never has, except to the extent that I could donate it to charity,
my.
and in doing so, hopefully help those less able to defend themselves. As reported in the media, the amount received in the divorce was $7 million, and $7 million is being donated. This is over and above any funds that I have given away.
I'm
in
glad
the
that we're already
past and
here.
will continue to give away in the future. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct. I don't remember that last line, but I have no,
Problem with it?
it doesn't stand out to me as wrong.
There's nothing inaccurate in the statement.
Not that I recognize now.
Mr. Depp donated $100,000 of the divorce settlement directly to the ACLU. Is that right?
Right at the beginning of the divorce settlement, he donated $100,000 to each charity on my behalf or towards my contribution,
I think
So $100,000
we're going to keep getting to her
to
donating
the
money.
ACLU.
and to the Children's Hospital.
And in response, you publicly demanded that Mr. Depp pay the divorce settlement directly to you instead of the charities, right?
That was always the agreement, actually, is for him to pay me directly. It was not his money as per the settlement agreement
It was
to
not
give
his
away
money.
and reap a tax benefit from. I said if he wants to do it and give to charity all of a sudden, then he should pay the correct amount and not try to get a big tax break for it. So effectively for his tax bracket, he should be paying double that amount to the charity directly. And if he wanted to pay the charity directly, he could. He could do that, was fine with me, but he would need to pay the adjusted amount.
Ultimately, the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement was paid directly to you, right?
Over time, yes.
And Mr. Depp didn't end up paying the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement directly to the charities you identified.
That is correct. He paid the installments to me.
You stopped that from happening, didn't you?
Yes.
I don't understand what your question is. I'm sorry.
You stopped Mr. Depp from paying the charities that you had
Directly.
named directly.
Yes.
That is incorrect. I said if you want to pay the charities directly, pay the adjusted
Pay
amount
double.
or pay as per our agreement in the settlement or in the divorce
So you
as
stopped
per our
it.
agreement.
You also
And he
publicly
chose to do the former, not the latter. I mean, the other way around.
I gave him a choice.
You also publicly stated that the $7 million divorce settlement should be paid to the charities immediately in full, right?
If he wanted to pay it in the way that he was suggesting, yes.
And you said publicly that the payments to the charities should not be drawn out over many years, right?
I said that I don't recall the exact words that I used, but basically that he shouldn't use this as a novel interest in getting a tax break. That if he wanted to do
Getting a
that
tax
and
break.
not pay me the settlement, that was fine. But he would have to pay the adjusted amount and not make
She's
it,
very involved in the tax
a
side of
a
this.
commitment he would not fulfill or try to avoid in
Very
some other way.
involved in the tax side of this.
And that's because you wanted the entire world to think that you were donating every penny of the $7 million divorce settlement as soon as you received it
Bing, bing,
from
bing.
Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
Ding ding.
No, I was going to be receiving it in installments, and I would be paying in installments the donations.
She's gone into kind of lecture.
In fact, you released a statement in response to Mr. Depp's $100,000 donations to the ACLU and CHLA, didn't you?
I don't recall.
Oh,
Let's
we
see if
have
can
that.
refresh your recollection.
We have
Could you
that
please
here
pull
for
up
us.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 1260.
We have it right here from CHLA. Let's just do that then. I'm excited to
An
see
article
it.
entitled Amber Heard and Johnny Depp row over divorce donations. And if I could direct your attention to where it says,
I talked about that a
it's on
little
the second page.
on social
Her
media.
spokeswoman
but he's not in
responded
court
in a
today.
statement. The language that follows the statement you released,
Objection, hearsay, spokeswoman, it's not her.
a spokesperson is an
An
exception,
agent?
Your Honor.
You want to come forward?
Oh, now we're going to sidebar.
Sidebar, the court. Oh, here we go. Speaking agent. How many times have we discussed this in sidebars? I mean, it's just, it's mind-boggling. Sidebar, the court. If it's a spokesperson, that's a speaking agent, right? Ms. Vasquez, speaking agent. The court. Exception. Ms. Vasquez, right. Representative capacity. The court. Non-agent. Now we have an issue with the agent laying foundation. This is a spokesperson speaking, somebody who's speaking for her. Ms. Bredoff, I think she has to ask it if, in fact, she recognizes that, and if, in fact, the spokeswoman, Ms. Vasquez, I'll get to that, Ms. Bredoff. She started reading the statement out loud to the jury, Ms. Vasquez. I was trying to lay a foundation. The court, you were reading the statement. She's right. If you want to lay the foundation, that's fine. Ms. Bredoff, thank you, Your Honor. The court, thank you. Open court. Open court.
You released a statement
Your Honor,
through.
may we approach again? Okay.
Sidebar, the court. You didn't get 2 words out that time. Ms. Bredoff, I'm sorry, but we only have received exhibits from them to 1247, so this was not an exhibit that we have. Ms. Vasquez, we marked them now. We can use them in cross-examination. Ms. Bredoff, but they haven't produced them to us. They haven't provided them to you. The court, they provide in cross-examination. Ms. Bredoff, they have to give us hard copies, Ms. Vasquez. Oh, I apologize. The court, yes, give them hard copies. Ms. Bredoff, give me a chance to look at it before, Ms. Vasquez. I agree. I apologize. Thank you. The court, thank you. Ms. Bredoff, okay. Back to open court.
She won it again.
That's exactly what I said.
That's it. That is exactly what you said, Camille. Bretta Hoff, pay attention. We're all moving.
Your Honor,
Maybe.
they gave me a redacted, but I don't have the unredacted to be able to see the full
I
document.
plan to admit it or ask that it be admitted in redacted form. I'm taking away any hearsay, and I'm just trying to lay the foundation that this is a statement she released through a spokesperson.
How would I know whether there's more to it that shouldn't be redacted, Your Honor, if I don't see the full document?
Because what you can see, if there's anything you can see that needs to be redacted, then what you can see might also need to be redacted. But you can see that on the non-redacted because you can see the non-redacted. How do I know if I can't see the redacted if more needs to be redacted? Look at the more
Your Honor,
that is
the witness
not
can testify as to
redacted.
whether this is a full statement or not.
The witness can't do, we have the right to be able to see the document.
All right. Do you have a document that's not redacted?
We can pull it up on our computers.
Okay.
Just give us a moment, Your Honor.
Go to the interwebs,
I can
Elaine.
represent this is the full statement that's reported.
Okay, give her an opportunity to look at the unredacted one.
The thing is, it's a ridiculous argument saying here's LawTube in the corner hanging out. Hello, LawTube. It's kind of a ridiculous statement saying, I don't know if more needs to be redacted. Read what's not redacted and then decide.
Have a copy of this.
You can get a copy of that
After court.
later.
Yes.
today.
Don't the
Okay.
legal teams
Right,
already
I
have the
think she
redacted?
should be
No.
giving us copies of the full.
Well, I
thing
understand, but
before.
we'll take care of that. But
Okay.
as of right now, can we continue?
Elaine,
We can, Your Honor, but I have an objection because of, there's some quotation marks missing.
Okay, come forward.
the court's like, Elaine, we can deal with this later.
Sidebar, the court. All right, here's the redacted. I guess now I need a copy of the unredacted. Where are the redactions, Ms. Vasquez? I was trying to make this easy. We're redacting all the hearsay. The court, yeah, right? The court, I appreciate it. Ms. Bardoff, so there's several pieces here where it shows the spokesperson, and then there's no quote at the end of it. Ms. Vasquez, because it continues. Oh my God, does she not know how quotes work? Ah, wow. The court, it continues. They have it. Ms. Bardoff. But then they have a quote at the beginning of the next, and then that doesn't have a quote. She just explained this to you, Elaine. I don't even know. I mean, you can't make then there's another one where there's not a quotations mark at the end of that. The court, I understand, Ms. Bardoff. So, the court, I understand, but I'm going to allow it if she can lay a foundation, okay? Ms. Bardoff, but in the future, Your Honor, I would, the court, everybody's on the same page on that. Ms. Vasquez, thank you. Ms. Bardoff, thank you. Back to open court we go.
All right.
That was a sign of frustration. Shout out to my
So
bro
directing
Cameron
your
for watching
attention,
with
Ms.
me.
Heard,
Shout out Cameron.
where it says her spokeswoman responded in a statement.
Your
The
Honor,
language that follows.
Your Honor, again, she can't read it. She has to show it
The
to
language
her.
that follows.
Yes,
If you want to lay a
Is the-
foundation.
Virginia. It's being held in Fairfax, Virginia.
You released a statement after Mr. Depp donated $100,000 to the ACLU and $100,000 to CHLA. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I think so, yes.
I think so, yes.
And the language that follows is the statement you released in response to Mr. Depp's donations, right?
I don't know if this is the official statement. I have no idea.
She's trying to
Statement that
distance
reads-
from it.
Starts at
Objection, Your Honor.
Amber Heard. That's
Elaine's-
the only thing I'm going to say. Would you
Elaine's
please read that to yourself?
trying to
Ms.
talk
Heard?
about it being hearsay, but it's
That's a statement you released through your spokeswoman after Mr. Depp made the donations to the CHLA and the ACLU. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I do not recall exactly what my statement was.
you just said you
I don't
did.
disagree with anything in the statement, but I just simply don't recall what the statement was we released.
Is there anything inaccurate in that statement, Ms. Heard?
No.
I'm going to move to admit.
Objection, Your Honor, lack of foundation.
I'll overrule the objection. 12-1260.
She laid the
evidence
foundation.
over objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Elaine's trying.
Statement reads, Amber
And
Heard
that-
appreciates Johnny Depp's novel interest in supporting two of her favorite charities, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union for Domestic Violence, and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. This is great and unexpected news.
Novel.
And it continues. However, if Johnny wishes to change the settlement agreement, we must insist that he honor the full amount by donating $14 million to charity, which, after accounting for his tax deduction, is equal to his $7 million payment obligation to Amber.
And this goes to impeaching her prior testimony,
continues.
saying that she didn't do that.
We would also insist that the full amount be paid immediately and not drawn out over many years. Anything less would be a transparent attempt by Johnny's counsel, Laura Wasser and Patty Glazer, to reduce their client's true payment by half under the guise of newfound concern for charities that he has never previously supported, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Thank you.
We're back to, did I read that correctly?
After this, you kept commenting about the donation of your divorce settlement, right?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay. You spoke about donating your divorce settlement on a Danish TV show, correct?
Oh, there we go to the Danish TV show.
I believe I said I had,
This is,
I believe I said I donated it to charity, but it was already printed or already
it was already printed.
commented on and stated in the press. I had already released that information in the press.
There was
I think I just
also
confirmed it
A
on that show.
You
non-disclosure
appeared on a show
portion.
called RTL Late Night.
There's a
right?
non-disclosure portion
I
of the
don't
divorce
recall
settlement.
what show it was.
If we could please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 346, which is a portion of your appearance on this program.
Did you see
And we
her
would
go,
ask that it be moved into evidence
Gonna
and ask for
have to-
permission to
Your
publish
Honor,
it.
it contains, it has hearsay, it contains other communications with other individuals.
Your Honor, if we
And
may
she's sitting
approach
there going
very
like this.
briefly.
Oh.
Sidebar, the court. All right, so which portion, Ms. Vasquez? It's just a question from the commentator. Oh, they're doing the interview, the Danish TV thing. The court, just that portion, Ms. Vasquez. It's the question which is obviously not being offered for the truth, but that's the interview. I actually had it transcribed. The court, thank you. I appreciate that. Ms. Vasquez, by Planet Depot, so there are no concerns, and highlighted. The court, you highlighted the part. Is it the part that's going to be played, Ms. Vasquez, or this is the only thing that we'll be introducing? The court, okay, which part is going to be played? Oh, this part is going to be played, Ms. Vasquez. Yes, correct. So it's just Ms. Heard asking, excuse me, it's the host asking the court, okay, Ms. Vasquez, the question, I apologize, Your Honor, it's actually, we clipped it. It starts on page 3 of this transcript. The court, okay, Ms. Vasquez, line 13. The court, line 13, page 3, Ms. Vasquez. So the question here, the court, about the $7 million, Ms. Vasquez, what did you do with that money? The court, okay, Ms. Vasquez, and then it's Ms. Heard speaking. I think there's one comment from the host on page 4, line 11, where it says, quote, more power to you. That's something that I've never heard of, end quote. The court, more power. That's where it ends. Ms. Vasquez, I'm sorry. The court, it keeps going after that. Ms. Vasquez, I'm sorry. After line 13, it ends. So I apologize, Your Honor. The court, okay. Ms. Vasquez, I thought these were, the only part we'll be playing starts on page, the court, page 3. Ms. Vasquez, line 13. The court, to page 4, line 13. Ms. Vasquez, that's right. The court, okay. Ms. Bredhoff, so the, oh, look at this. Look at this. So the host is actually speaking hearsay. There are all kind of accusations flying your way, and then people were saying all this. This is all about money, and then indiscernible. It's also hearsay, Your Honor. Within that, Ms. Vasquez, it's a question, Your Honor, and we're obviously saying it's not being offered for the truth. The court, yes, Ms. Vasquez, that's exactly what Ms. Heard is alleging here. The court, that's what she said. Okay, I'll overrule that objection. I'll allow that portion. Ms. Vasquez, thank you. Back to open court.
If we
You
could
need them to
please
be able to
play
hear you.
and publish to the jury Plaintiff's Exhibit 346.
If Amber Heard loses, do you think PR will say it's due to men on the jury? I think
and
PR
actually
will
were
say it's
all kinds of
sexist.
accusations
And
flying your way when
the
you said
evidence
all
was
this,
held
and
out.
then there was a divorce settlement. You got $7 million. People were saying this is all about the money, but then you did something that twisted that whole argument. What did you do with that money?
$7 million in total was donated to, and I split it between
Was donated.
ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
ACLU is a human rights organization.
Sorry, ACLU is a prominent organization, nonprofit organization in the United States. It's called the American
Right.
Civil Liberties Union, and they work on behalf of marginalized communities on the ground and in legislative reform.
Right.
And
Well, more power to you, because that's something that I've never
I
heard
wanted
of.
nothing.
Was donated. I wanted nothing. Was
This
donated.
interview was in October of 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't recall when it was.
It was in 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't remember when this was done.
This was after you had received the full $7 million of your divorce settlement for Mr. Depp, wasn't it?
Again, without knowing when it was recorded, I have no idea.
The $7 million divorce settlement was paid to you in full by February of 2018, right?
That's correct.
Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1458, which is already in evidence.
They're going to have to get into the date of the show. Oh,
This is the deal point memorandum from your divorce settlement.
Oh,
right, Ms.
we
Heard?
love the deal point memorandum.
Yes, that's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
If we go down to the bottom of page 4,
The
there's a
NDA.
heading
Let's talk
labeled
about the NDA. Non-disclosure agreement?
Equalization Payment. Do you see that?
Yes.
Oh, NDA.
And underneath that, it outlines a payment schedule for the divorce payments, correct?
She just testified to that.
Yes.
Well, it begins to. And if we go on page 5,
Zoom out, Michelle. I'm just kidding. Michelle's not their tech person. They have a different tech person. I would like to see the whole equalization payment because I'm curious. But this, if it gets admitted into evidence, will all
so
be on the
first
court's website
payment
today.
is scheduled for August 31st, 2016. And that's $200,000, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
This probably lined up with when he
Mr.
was
Depp's
getting paid for
accountant,
movies, I'm
Edward
guessing.
White, testified that he made that payment directly.
You got to turn on your microphone, Ms. Butterhoff.
Ms.
not
Butterhoff,
hear you.
we can't hear.
Objection to her testifying to what Mr. White testified
He
to.
already testified in
It's a-
court.
Actually,
It's foundation.
literally testified to it in court.
I'll overrule. the
It's not
objection.
hearsay,
Your
it's
Honor.
foundation.
Mr. Depp's
Jesus.
accountant, Edward White, testified that he made the payment directly to the ACLU and CHLA, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Am I fanning myself with the rules of
And
evidence?
then the
Yes.
rest of the payments were all made
Fan
to you,
Bretta Hoff with them
weren't they?
too.
That is correct.
Not how that
And
works.
the final
Elaine.
payment of $2.3 million is on February 1st, 2018, right?
The final payment, yes.
And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule.
I'm going to object to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to.
I'll
It's an
overrule the
improper.
objection.
It's not improper,
Your
Elaine.
Honor.
You circling shit on exhibits
And you
is
were here in court
improper.
When
The
Mr. White
audacity.
testified that the payments were all made on
Audacity.
schedule, right?
I don't believe they were. He might have
That's
testified
not my
to
question, Ms. Heard. My question was, you were here in court when Mr. White testified under oath that all the payments were made
I like how she
on
emphasized
schedule.
oath.
that. I was here every day in court. I heard his testimony, yes.
Okay. Again, she's trying
So
to
back
reframe and not
October
just
of
answer the yes or no.
2018,
But
this was before
she's
Mr.
not
Depp
being-
sued you for defamation, correct?
Bird, she's not being that
Yes, that's correct.
spicy.
He didn't sue you until after the op-ed came out in December of 2018, right?
He sued me in 2019.
And the op-ed came out in December of 2018.
That is correct.
So in October of 2018, you had received your entire $7 million divorce settlement. You would
That-
agree with me.
That is correct.
Oh,
And you hadn't yet been sued by
So-
Mr. Depp.
you waited.
This is
You waited to
October,
write the op-ed
correct.
until after you got paid in
So
full.
in this
Is that where they're
October
going?
2018 interview, you said that you had, quote, donated, end quote, your entire divorce settlement to charity, right?
that's correct.
And in fact, your exact words were, quote, $7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, end quote,
Pointing out that she
right?
That's correct. I made that statement as soon as I got a divorce and we reached the settlement. That's when I pledged it right then.
And you say this
Does
because
she not see
you, quote,
where this is
wanted
going?
nothing, end quote.
That is correct.
But you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
Bingo.
That's incorrect.
What?
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety
No.
No,
of the
Ms. Heard,
settlement,
Paid.
that's
$7
not
million
my
to
Ms.
charity, and I,
Paid.
I
Ms.
intend to
Ms.
fulfill
Heard,
those
Ms.
obligations.
Heard, that's not my question.
Paid. Paid,
Please.
not pledged.
What was
Try to
your
answer my
question?
question. Sitting here today, you have not donated
This is going to
the
get spicy.
$7 million donated, not pledged, donated
Have
the $7 million
not.
divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another. They
And
are
I
the same
don't.
thing.
Ms. Heard,
But I don't. Stop
I don't
looking at the
use it
jury, Miss
synonymously.
Heard.
That's how donations are paid.
Ms. Heard,
No.
respectfully, that's not my question. As of today,
Get it, Camille.
you have not paid
Oh, there's only
$3.5
15
million
minutes left of
of
court.
your own money to the ACLU. Yes or no?
I have not yet.
And as of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, correct?
I have not yet. Johnny sued me.
So as of today,
It's Johnny's fault,
you have
y'all.
not donated,
It's Johnny's fault, y'all.
paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
She's not going to say I didn't pay
And
it.
that's because you did want something, didn't you?
I didn't want anything and I
Oh,
didn't get anything.
Spicy,
You wanted
spicy.
Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it. Wasn't interested in it.
Looking at the
I loved
jury.
Johnny. That's why I was with him.
You wanted praise for donating the money, right?
Mm.
That's incorrect.
You wanted good press.
Mm.
In general, one
Yes.
does want good press. Yes.
That's a
You
fair
wanted
answer.
to seem altruistic publicly.
Wasn't my interest. My interest is in my name and clearing my name. And at the time, I was
didn't
being
wanna seem
called
like
a
a gold
liar
digger.
and my motives were being questioned. I did see it as important to clear that up. I wanted to make a statement to make sure that there was not any doubt that I couldn't be labeled these things just because Johnny was a bigger star and had more publicity
This
reach.
is a great answer
You
for
wanted to
Depp's
remind
team.
everyone of your claims of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
This
No,
is
I
a
wanted
good
to
cross.
move on
That's a
with
good
my
answer
life.
for them.
You wanted to make those claims seem believable.
They are believable. They were
You wanted
believable.
them to be seen, excuse me, as a noble victim of domestic violence.
I
didn't
have
you?
never wanted to be seen as a victim. Nor have I
You-
ever called myself one.
Oh, shit.
You testified under oath that, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement
Yo.
was donated to charity, end quote, didn't you?
That's correct. I pledged the entirety.
No.
No. Ms. Heard,
No.
my questions. Your counsel will have time to redirect you.
My
After.
questions. Get it, Camille.
You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated
Camille's tone
to charity,
has
end
shifted.
quote.
That
It's
is correct. I
appropriate.
pledged the entirety.
No.
I'm going to move to strike everything after yes.
Yep.
All right.
It's non-responsive. Ooh, turn on your mic, Elaine.
No.
Elaine, turn on your mic.
Ms. Hurt, this is really inappropriate.
This is
I'll
not
sustain the
appropriate.
objection and we'll just move forward.
Thank you.
Let's move forward.
This is
Next
not appropriate
question.
at all.
I'm sorry, I don't follow your question. Sorry.
You testified under oath,
Fuck you
quote,
don't.
the entirety of my divorce settlement was donated
They're never
to
gonna let this
charity,
go.
end quote.
And they shouldn't.
That statement wasn't true.
They shouldn't let it go.
It is true. I pledged the entirety to charity.
The statement.
When you say you buy a house, you don't pay for
Ms.
the
Hurd,
entire
Ms.
house
Hurd,
at one time.
respectfully,
You pay it
I'm
over
not
time.
Answer the
Ms.
question. No
Hurd.
question
Next question,
pending,
please.
Miss
Thank you.
Heard. No
that
question
statement isn't true today,
pending.
as you sit here today, is it?
It is true. I pledged the entirety.
But you
to
didn't
charity.
donate it.
But you didn't pay it.
Unfortunately,
You didn't donate it. It's a yes or no.
I haven't been able to to fulfill those
So that's a no,
obligations.
right, Ms. Hurd?
I made the pledge. I want to be very clear. I pledged the entirety. I haven't been able to fulfill those pledges because I've been sued.
You had all of the $7 million
Before you
for
got
13
sued.
months before Mr. Depp
Good,
sued you, and you
good
chose
cross.
not to pay it to the charities
Good cross.
you pledged it to. Is that
Good
correct?
cross.
I disagree with your characterization of that.
Well, she's asking you a question without a characterization. The
Let's look at
question
your
is,
sworn testimony from the UK.
boom, roasted. Here's the thing. She got the entirety of the divorce settlement before she wrote the op-ed, before she was sued. Poor Camille is standing there with the sun right in her face, which really sucks. But
All right.
she got the entirety of the divorce settlement. And this is timing that was not clear to me
Thank
before this cross. She got the entirety of the divorce settlement before she wrote the op-ed, maybe because she wanted to keep getting it. And maybe the op-ed violated her NDA and her divorce settlement. But that's me speculating.
Do you want me to close the shades?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. We all do.
There's light coming across.
It's like,
So I appreciate that. It's probably good light.
such a mess. I'm
Thank
glad
you,
that
Your
they're,
Honor.
that's so much better. So she got the entirety of the divorce settlement and she keeps saying, I didn't pay it because I got sued. I didn't pay it because I got sued. Well, actually, no. You got the entirety of the settlement. Then you wrote the op-ed after you got paid.
This is
Then
your
you got
third witness
sued.
statement that you submitted in the UK action, right, Ms. Hurd?
Correct.
And this statement was made under oath.
Boom,
True?
roasted.
That is true.
I'm directing your attention to the last page of that statement. That's your signature, right?
Yes, it is.
So you made the sworn statement on February 26, 2020.
That's correct.
And
226.
directing your attention to paragraph 4.
This cross is so much more effective
It
than yelling
says-
at people.
Quote, I remained financially independent from him the whole time we were together, and the entire amount of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
The him you were referring to is Mr. Depp.
That is correct.
She's going to keep saying it was pledged, not paid.
Most of the money that was donated to the ACLU and CHLA in your name came from someone else. Isn't that right?
I don't know what you mean by most of.
Well, at least
Can you
$500,000 that was
characterize
donated to
most?
the ACLU in your name wasn't paid by you, right?
I believe Elon made a donation in my honor on one of the years.
No, it,
And it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement, right?
No, nor did it count towards my pledge.
yes, actually it did. Didn't you hear the
And at
ACLU's
least
testimony?
$500,000 that was donated to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles in your name wasn't paid by you either.
Right, those were made at the same time.
And it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement.
Nor did it count to my 3.5 obligation.
Those $500,000 payments came from your new boyfriend, Elon Musk, right?
I don't know if he was a new boyfriend at the time.
You got him to pay part of what you promised to these two charities, didn't you?
Incorrect.
Because you wanted to keep at least some of the $7 million divorce settlement for yourself, right?
I'm very wrong about that.
Okay.
I think this, if
It's
you're
a good
on this
time to
fine,
break
this
for
is
the
a good
day.
stopping
Breaking
point.
point. Okay, that's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll stop here for the evening. Remember tonight, do not do any outside research and do not discuss the case with anybody. I know these days are a little longer, and I appreciate your patience and your taking care of everything here. Please take care of yourself tonight, okay? And we'll see you in the morning at 9 a.m.
Judge A, you're the real MVP. I mean, I don't agree with all of your hearsay rulings, but truly, this judge is the real MVP. Tomorrow, we are going to get, I think, probably a full day of cross, but they really are getting into the ACLU testimony, and they need to because it was a big, big point in the UK trial.
Again, Ms. Hurd, since
you
you're
wanted
still
nothing.
on the witness stand, please do not discuss your testimony with anybody to include your attorneys, okay? All right, 9 o'clock tomorrow then? All right, we'll see you at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
The judge is like, I'm out. I'm out. Did you see how fast she got off the fucking bench? Out. Judge A's like, I'm so done with you all today. I am done. And Judge A just bounced right off the bench.